G'day everyone and welcome to episode 18 of the Battleforge Gaming Podcast. I'm Background Mike. Today I'm joined by the Flashing Badger himself, Mike.
Thank you so much for having me.
G'day. And as always, BFG Justin. G'day Justin.
Hey guys. Hey Mike. Hey Mike. Hey Mike.
Yeah, should we change the thing to 5 mics and a Justin or
5 mics and a Justin,
Yeah, perfect.
That'll work.
Perfect. So as always, this show is brought to you by the good folks at General Games. If you can please remember to like, share, and subscribe, that would be amazing for us as it grows our audience and helps us reach more hobbyists.
Hit that algorithm.
Absolutely. Mike knows all about that.
Yep.
You absolutely nailed that intro.
Thank you, sir.
You're in the wrong chair and everything.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
weird.
so proud. I've tried to throw you off, tried to rattle you. It hasn't worked.
It's been a rough day, honestly. But as always, we're going to jump into the Fortnightly Catchup, as it is now called. How have you been, Justin? I haven't seen you in 2 weeks, legitimately.
You're legitimately, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's been going on?
Nothing.
You've quit painting.
You'd be you'd be
No more
absolutely
live streams.
surprised. You'd be surprised that I've been doing live paint streams. But doing some Imperial Knights now. We fully started doing the Imperial Knights, so going to get that army to 2,000 points for the battle reports, and then might have a certain person that's sitting in the middle chair roll some dice, which people are pretty damn excited for.
Swap chairs.
Yeah.
Well, Mike's probably got his own army to roll dice with, but you'll have one
Look out.
at some point.
Look out.
Once we finally get round to doing those reports.
I don't paint well, but I roll dice like a champ, so.
Well, it's been a while. It's been a while. The last time you rolled dice was for Necromunda, and you did.
I wasn't awful.
You weren't awful.
It was probably the best
There
way.
was a few tactical errors, but ultimately the rolling the dice, I think you shot one of my guys off a wall with a shotgun and just splat him.
Pretty much my life story. Anything tactical, not great. Just roll the dice and
But
wing
luck.
it. Luck, good.
I always forget about the elevation until it's important. Right at the dice roll, someone's like, all right, so we're going to see if you fall off. I'm like, hold up.
yeah, that's what he said. Like when I did it, he's like, "Oh, I got to see if I fall off." And I was like, "You could do that?"
Yeah. I was playing Goliath, and the initiative is not great.
yeah. It was. Yeah, these big dummies are gonna fall off this wall.
Yep,
Excellent.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
It was my flamer guy too. He didn't get to do anything. Freshly painted, just fell off a wall.
Yeah. Any news on the BFG team front? What's been going on with the battle reports and things like that?
Behind the scenes?
Yeah, anything behind the scenes?
Yeah, so we've been making a list and we've been checking it twice. No, we have we've been making a sort of wish list and some plans to put in place of how we're going to get to the point of doing some battle reports. And we've got some pricing back, which we're not too happy with. So we're going to go with plan B, which I think is going to take a little bit longer, but ultimately it's going to set up with a really nice area for us to do battle reports. And
yeah, this is for like the actual showcasing of the area that you're going to be playing the reports.
yeah, we're going to have like a section at another hobby store that's fully kitted out. We'll have some like wall graphics and illuminated signage and purpose-built tables for people to have paint classes in. We'll do some like intimate paint classes with like 10 people, that type of stuff, and some battle reports too. And I'll stream some painting from there as well.
Hang out there a little bit.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Let's
Exciting.
talk about needing extra space. I expected to turn up today and be in like a small living room or something. And what people probably don't understand is that we're in a huge warehouse facility in the middle of the city and there's just space galore. It's greeted by a receptionist, an energy drink, everything. And you need more space.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, this
Yeah.
podcast it's not even a real room. It's just set off in the corner of a warehouse. We just painted a 4x4 white wall.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
a huge set design. There's people buzzing around in the background.
This is actually
It's
the
quite
old.
distracting.
It's the old Twitch Australia building, actually. So
That curtain's not even real. There's nothing behind it.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
just a wall.
it's just a warehouse with all of our merch in it.
Yeah.
And Mike, you've
We're
been
having
keeping.
issues with that merch too. People aren't buying it.
Yeah, that's why we
There's
got.
just
That's why we got the
boxes
warehouse.
of it.
How's the pressure? Fine, I'll get my phone out. I was told you weren't going to hit the live button until I made a couple of purchases.
Yeah, that's right. You don't come on the podcast unless you've purchased X amount of merchandise. That's the
And I'm
rule.
blocking the mug. What an absolute rookie. There we go.
I warned you about that. No.
That's your
Struck
first.
one. Two more. We're off to a good start.
Yeah, so Flashing Badger,
Yes.
what's the last 2 weeks looked like for you?
Last 2 weeks for me, I've just finished up painting my first Space Wolf.
Yes.
Spoilers, it was amazing.
Oh, no doubt.
But I've got a thing at the moment with the Discord community for Flashing Badger where they pretty much name a model, we spin a wheel, someone wins, and then they get to pick a model and I paint it for them. Someone wasn't happy with that process, so they just sent me a model in the mail and said, paint it.
Oh,
And I
no.
was like, that's so rude. But I admire the hustle.
That's so good.
So I was like, that is so bold. I must do it.
Yeah.
So I just finished painting Space Wolf. They have this thing
Is this
called
the Space Wolf was
a Primaris Lieutenant. I don't know if you've heard of them. It's a recent addition.
Yeah. Has he got the axe, that one?
This shield, storm shield, and plasma pistol.
Oh, yeah, I'm familiar with the one, yeah. Because there is a Space Wolf specific lieutenant model.
So I custom built this one and I didn't need to.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Because I heard there was only 1 or 2 Primaris Lieutenants getting around.
Oh,
so
100 or 200 of them. there's
scrolling on eBay. I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Quite popular.
Yep.
So I finished painting that and posted it. And I think it arrived yesterday. I got the tracking information to say it's arrived.
That's awesome.
So that was the last 2 weeks. 1 week painting and then 1 week very slowly editing
Yeah.
and hating my life.
As we all do with editing. How far away did the model end up traveling?
All the way to Scotland.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm yet to post something locally. Everyone who's won is like, guess what? I'm on the other side of the world. And
That's
some
so
of them
good.
are huge. The postage was like $90
Yeah.
or $120 for one. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
It's like, no worries, buddy.
Yeah, that's all right. You got YouTube money.
Yeah, lucky you got that YouTube money.
I was like, I'll take it for the postage account. Getting cash bang.
Yeah. Yeah, we just have like clerks to do that for us. Like, I don't know, you do it
Oh,
yourself.
it must be nice.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just
We call them
battling
servitors.
Servitors.
See what you've done.
BFG servitors.
Oh no, that's crazy. Our first competition we ever ran on here, I think it was this is the podcast first competition. The person who won was in Shepparton.
Beautiful part of the world.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, just as
But
gorgeous as Scotland.
the person that won the General Games giveaway, the World Eaters, was in the United States.
US or was it UK?
Shit.
Similar distance.
I could have
Yeah.
sent it to the wrong place. Someone's getting just
someone
a random,
in the US.
a random
Yeah.
World Eaters. Wow.
Yeah. And that's one way to get people into the hobby. Just,
just
post
wrote what-
boxes to them.
Yeah, whatever the postage was that you gave me, that's where I sent it.
Ah, I wouldn't have made a mistake, knowing me.
Well, we had a good run, gentlemen.
Yeah. We're not even live, probably. Like, it's hard to.
It's where we check the comments and it's all no mic,
Yeah, no, Mike. We can't hear you. We can't.
No.
No, but yeah. So that's pretty cool, though. That you're doing sort of. Have you done a lot of stuff like that, sending out to the community and?
Yeah, I've hit a point in the hobby where the man cave downstairs, I've filled the shelves and I'm ready to buy more. But if my wife is watching, totally not. But I've pretty much said to people that I've got the space filled, I've got the models that I've always wanted, and now to test myself and paint something new and to entertain the community in the Discord is I'll paint for someone else. And I'm
Awesome.
loving it because someone will nominate a model for me and my first reaction is always, there is no chance I can paint that. I'm not at that standard. I'm going to butcher it. You're going to hate it. They encourage me. I try it and I try and incorporate something new for me.
Yeah.
Whether it's a technique or even the brand of model or something else. And then, yeah, I get the kick out of being able to send it to them and have a video that is different from what I'm used to.
Yeah. It's like it sounds like a fun version of commission painting. Like less pressure,
It's really cool.
less like, less.
Because they haven't paid for it, they can't complain.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. You want a refund on what?
Yeah. Well, who are you going to complain to? It's me.
Yeah.
I do the HR, I do the admin.
Yeah, exactly.
I paid for the shipping.
Yeah. Not like here. We got a whole team for that too.
Yep. I'm not even really painting on live streams. It looks like it.
Yeah. Yeah, you got the hand double.
Yep.
Yeah.
AI.
I saw the room, it's just green screen everywhere and just mannequin hands. Yep. It's foolproof.
Yeah, what could go wrong? No. But yeah, that's pretty sick. I like that idea. That's cool that you
It's so much fun. And initially I was like, oh, I'll do 1 or 2 of these videos. And now it's pretty much every second video. I go,
Yeah.
I just want to keep painting.
Have you noticed like an uptick in engagement and stuff like that because of it?
Definitely within the small community that we have on Discord, it went from back and forth talk of painting in general to now there is so much banter about when we're going to spin the wheel.
Cool.
crazy things that people are nominating if they win. And then I have to behind the scenes rig it and make sure they'll never win.
Oh, absolutely.
There's
Yeah.
someone in there named Tiny who was just like, Chaos Titan. As soon as I win. That's
He
what
already
we came in.
sounds sketchy.
Yeah, I know,
like
right?
in general.
If it's the Tiny that hangs out with us, that sounds like the type of stuff he
Yeah.
would
That'd be
do.
amazing. He's grifting both of us.
Yeah,
We need to
absolutely.
bring an end to it.
Yeah. No, he came because he was at DreamHack, grifting us at DreamHack. He grifts everyone everywhere.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
imagine that. That'd be a stitch up, having to paint a whole Chaos Titan.
I'm genuinely terrified.
Yeah.
There's got to be, you got to set some rules in place. Hero models. I think hero models is a perfect sort of size. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think, reasonable limits for sure.
Yeah, and that's where it's sort of been at so far. And then someone picked a bust of Horus, and I've never painted a bust before. Always
Right.
wanted to, and I just went, ooh, okay, cool new challenge. So that was something different.
Yeah, cool.
So you've done the Horus bust.
I mean, I completed it. It wasn't great. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, you got to start somewhere, right? Like, I've never done one, so I'm sure my
no, like,
first attempt at doing a bust ever would probably not look like the bust that you see on Instagram.
Yeah, you
Oh.
scale everything up, and I'm like, oh no, oh
yeah.
no.
We don't want more detail. We
I
want
know, right?
less.
So next models, maybe I'll go down to epic scale.
Yeah. That looks
Photograph it from
amazing.
afar.
Yeah. That's so good. Yeah, I often wondered, like, when do miniatures stop being miniatures?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, is it a completely different style of painting then? And like you said, you were doing it for that reason, to challenge yourself to do a different style of painting. But yeah, that I wouldn't even know where to begin, to be honest.
Where to begin? Let's do it. A 1-to-1 Space Marine. You and I.
Damn, imagine that.
Look at the space. Look at this warehouse.
Yeah, that's true. We've probably got something somewhere that would fit the bill, I think. But oh man, anyone that actually sees this room is just like, oh my god, I can't believe how big it looks on.
I'm just grateful for you getting me in early, taking me on a tour of the facility. Very impressive.
It takes a while.
Mm.
It does take a while.
But it only takes a couple of episodes to recoup all that budget. that you
Oh
spent
yeah,
on
exactly.
the place, so-
Yeah. It's just 1 or 2 episodes, and we're basically covered it. The live streaming stuff's the real money maker, but the podcast is just for fun.
Oh, the podcast just covers the rent for the warehouse, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically.
the monorail's a nice touch.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah,
see
well,
enough of those.
It would have taken us way over an hour if we didn't have that to
Yeah.
show you the place. Like, is the compound really?
Was the Uber ride good?
First time in a Bugatti, I won't lie.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, I'm no stranger to sports cars.
No,
But
YouTube
it was a
money.
nice touch. Helipad here, fantastic, but it just wouldn't have worked on my end. That close to the harbour with the yachts, a bit of licensing issues. So thank you for the Uber to pick me up.
Background Mike did say, I want to send the best cars. Like, look, we haven't met him. Maybe next time we'll send the best car. Send us the second best.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
yeah.
I'm
Next
glad the Bugatti made it, so it was good.
You'd be nervous about next time you might not even be here.
I have no idea what you'd be referring to in that. Like, are you
So the
saying?
name Background Mike, my pitch is that you're in my shadow and that
Ooh.
this is a hostile takeover.
This is a hostile takeover.
It wasn't purely about me sitting in the chair today.
I wondered why you guys made me sit in the middle chair.
There's
Like,
something that Justin and I would like to talk to you about. I'm nervous too. I've prepared palm cards. It's not going to be easy.
this is a shock to me. I'm absolutely blindsided right now. I can't believe, I thought, when this was a fun idea pitched to me, I will get Mike from Flashing Badger on. Like, he seems like a great guy, a fun time.
No one said
you must
that to
have
you.
you must have realized
The story's got holes already.
you must have realized after Mitch's episode when you plugged the cable into the wrong port on the back of the Roadcaster. That had to have clicked. at
That's
some
like,
point.
that's only like the 15th mistake I've made on this show. Like, that's not even that many. You make mistakes, surely.
Yeah, you've seen my videos.
Oh, yeah. So next week or next fortnight will be Flashing Badger and BFG Justin, the podcast.
Love
yeah,
that.
with Ash and Alex.
Yeah.
Play
Yeah.
your cards right. You might come back as a guest. I won't rule it out.
I'm glad.
I'm happy to have you on,
if you can
but
keep-
it's just a matter of we're allowed to have you.
You know what? You're being the bigger man about this. So,
Breaking news.
Thanks, mate.
Breaking news. Background Mike is trying out for Team Victoria with his Imperial Knights that he's had commission painted by BFG.
Yeah. Oh, I'd kill it. Have you seen Imperial Knights? Like,
I have.
I'll be fine. Yeah. So, well, thanks for having me, guys. It's been a really fun show. So,
Which segues into your past 2 weeks.
yeah, which have been absolutely flat out.
Work?
Yeah, and I've been writing sort of. I actually did have a hint that I'd be, leaving the show, so I actually prepared a statement. I'll get it. No.
At some point, we need to clarify that you're not leaving. I'm sorry I've done this.
We've committed too much now. Everyone's like, "Is he actually leaving?" No, that's just Mike being Mike, I guess.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, they do say badgers are aggressive.
They're not. I'm telling you.
But
We were chatting about before. Yeah. You can just scoop them up off the ground.
I mean, I still act aggressive. It's just your ability to call my bluff.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's right. I'm not leaving then.
He's good.
You can't make me.
I took my shot.
Yeah. No, it was you had me convinced for a second there. But yeah, so we're on to the actual main part of the show where we actually find out something about the guest, which is me. No.
Tell me.
No. How did you first discover Warhammer, Mike?
So, you may have heard of a series of novels. You may not have. Let me tell you about it. It's a fellowship, if you will. But no,
is it really?
No, I know nothing about Lord of the Rings. I'm sorry.
I teed him up beforehand. I was like, you have to say.
I thought it was going to be seriously Lord of the Rings again.
No. So, no, my origin story is far wilder. It involves radioactive scorpions. But, no, so probably the cliche of as a kid, I knew about Warhammer. I had some hand-me-down models that my mates and I played with and painted. Beautiful painting, as you can imagine, in the late 90s.
All the painting was amazing back then.
I used automotive primer on my Blood Angels.
Sounds durable.
Here's a shop that is selling a can for like $20.
Yeah.
And here's another shop that's selling them for about $2.
I have seen people on forums talking about using Rust-Oleum on their stuff.
I've heard that as well.
And I don't know how I feel about it.
Do you get the Twitch?
How enterprising is the young flashing badger though? He's like, I'm not paying full price for this.
I was all over it from the outset, and with no internet to turn to or anything else, for someone to go, stop. What you're about to do is really dumb. Instead, I was like, oh, I've broken the system already. And yeah, so horribly painted models. We played a little as kids, but then we started to grow up and discover the other parts of life.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the women. Am I right, fellas? And you can get back into that now with all the podcasting, I'm sure.
Oh, yep. Inundated.
That's the main reason we have security here.
Fun fact, like 98% of my viewers are women, like 25 to 40 years old. It's the statistics that no one talks about. It's hidden in the community. But you'll be getting fewer ads of single women in your area because now they're just flocking to my channel.
It's so good because I know on our analytics that like you just look at it and it's like male 98%.
98?
Yeah.
I'm at like 100.
Oh, I'm checking this. While you guys chat, I'm checking.
My game.
My girlfriend watches it, I think.
Nice.
Maybe. She tells me she does.
I bet you I can check on Instagram.
Mine doesn't even have the heart to lie to me. I'm like, did you see it? She's like, no.
No, I couldn't.
And if you could stop talking about it, that'd be great.
Yeah, that would also be great.
Yeah. She's like, my friends are coming around. You need to pack this up.
That's why you have the basement?
Yes. And it's got like this 4-inch steel door that stops it. And her friends are like, what's down there? And she's like, oh, nothing. It's not even part of it.
Like yard equipment, maintenance stuff.
Yeah. Mike's working on a muscle car down there at the moment, restoration.
Hold up. Mine's 95.9% male.
What?
And 4% female.
Enough about me. What is your secret?
I've been working out lately.
Yeah, nice.
So that could be something to do with it.
This is that bicep you were speaking about.
It was.
I've heard
earlier,
of this.
yeah.
Or a double bicep.
Double.
Two of them.
Front double bicep.
I've heard of this.
Yeah.
I've heard of this.
More than one, it seems so.
Seems like
the absolute lack of context with that conversation as well.
Yeah, about that. What else were we talking about off?
Yeah, let's bring up everything.
Origin story.
Yes.
So that was me as a kid, and then went on to other things in life.
Yeah.
And then it's
Had massive appeal for the opposite sex, obviously.
Yeah. So it was
Warhammer kid.
And then once you finally have a stable job and time on your hands.
Oh, that adult money.
Yeah. And then you just go, wait a second. All that stuff I ever wanted as a kid, you're telling me I can have it?
I can buy the official paint.
And no one can stop me. And there is someone there going, you can't have that. What are you doing? I'm like, it's all right. I got this. And I get it delivered to work. Yeah, and so suddenly I could get back into the hobby, but it was board games initially, just hanging out with mates. That was our healthy hobby rather than going to the pub. Pub, am I right, lads? It was, let's sit around the table, play board games, have a few drinks and banter, but never miniature painting because we're all dub muffins and we didn't have the time. But then through work, I had a situation where I discovered someone who was into Warhammer. And I've spoken about this before, but if you're happy, I'll get into it.
Yeah, let's
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Amazing. So my work, whilst I keep it on the side, because I usually don't let the two mix.
You make so much on YouTube that you don't want to.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
right? Is it? I turn up in a Lambo at work and they're like, what's the go? But
Yeah. It's a lease. Don't worry about it.
But my work at the time meant that I was interacting with people and coming across people that had suffered loss through traumatic circumstances. And in that, I discovered a young guy who had lost his dad. It was really sad. And I went round to meet the family, and in doing so, could see straight through the living room, and there's a wall of Warhammer. And I didn't recognize the models immediately because everything was new. But I was like, I reckon I know what that is. And I'd be dealing with this family for the next year or two. And to have them trust me and everything else. And I wanted to give back to the family at the end of the process. So what I discovered was researched the hobby and I was like, everything's changed, but it looks interesting. Made the decision that I wanted to try and paint a model for this boy. And so looked at all of them and I was like, oh, it's got to be something cool. It's got to be impressive. And I picked a Leviathan Dreadnought from Forge World.
Oh my God.
Again, you're picking up on it already. You're like, this guy's got no clue. There should be more research happening that I go, no. So it arrived and I didn't know
You had YouTube at this point, didn't you?
Yeah. And it was at that point I jumped in and started watching tutorials about what I got myself into.
So was this from Forge World, like a full resin one? It wasn't like the new plastic one?
No.
Oh,
So this is go back like 5 or 6 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Forge World. And I was just like, wait, I've got to wash this thing? It didn't turn up painted? What is this madness? I have to do the legwork? And so I spent the next couple of months just watching videos, then buying what it was that I saw in the video, and then painting that part of the model and slowly working my way back and forth. And it started off as a task of, I'd like to complete this and present it at the end. But then I found that whenever I was sitting and painting, that I was in my happy place. I was able to listen to a podcast, watch something in the background mic, hashtag. And I just felt that the stress from work and life was just slowly dropping away. I was emptying my bucket and completed it, passed on the model, and it meant everything to this boy. And then I had that moment where I got home and I'm like, I've got nothing to paint, but I feel like I need something to take my mind off the next part of work and the next part of work. And so, yeah, pulled the trigger and committed and said, I think this will be my healthy hobby. And didn't look back.
That's such a cool way to get into it. How good.
It's weird.
Good.
But I'm so glad that those paths crossed and that, yeah.
Like it's such a chance encounter as well. Like seeing the Warhammer through a room and.
So what age, if you don't mind, what age were you when you got back into it?
I would have been early 30s.
So do you think being that age, you were able to sort of think about what the hobby was doing for you at that time? Like you said, you were like, oh, hang on, wait. I feel like I'm not thinking about work and I'm at home now. Do you think that type of age helped with that?
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean?
I'd spent years, because I've been with my job for 17 years, something crazy like that. I'd spent a whole bunch of time trying to understand the best ways for stress management. And there's short-term things, like you could have a cider and be like, hey, it's taking the edge off and I feel a bit better.
Yep.
And that's sort of like surface level, getting rid of some of that stress. And then I was like, I love fitness, as you can tell, my overly muscular
Yeah, you know what
physique.
a bicep is.
Yeah, the bicep.
Yeah.
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 If we're getting too technical, Justin, you just let me know, all right?
I'm so glad. I'm adding context to this. I'm going to add context to this. So we had Lockie come in and talking about paint judging and stuff like that, and I likened. And I think I've done it before on the podcast. Maybe I'm doing it too much. I likened judging models to that of being a judge at a bodybuilding contest because it's very subjective and people have preferences. So Like I made the example of a pose, which is called a front double bicep, and whether a judge would prefer a different person's pose. And it's the same with
for those watching
Yeah,
right
we're not
now,
doing one.
what might that look like?
I mean, we obviously are down with all of this.
Yeah,
but
we know. We just feel like the
Yeah.
people at
we've got
home.
the space.
I'm sure we could just do a Google search and
We'll take the camera down to the gym, the main gym, not the private gym.
Speaking of
we don't have
which,
time to go to the private gym.
I'm going to call you both out on this.
Uh-oh.
I've been spending the last months trying to get in shape because I believe we were doing a jacuzzi podcast.
Oh yeah.
And I turn up today and I'm presented with couches.
I've been trying to work it. Yeah, it's true. You were like, oh, I got to get fit, and I was like, yeah. No, I haven't worked out what the goal is for that. I feel
I'm
like
so glad you brought that up.
I've been studying this podcast.
Oh,
I feel like it was going to be like something like 2,000 followers or something. I don't know. There has to be a goal.
but
It'll
we're
happen.
We're
Like,
at 5.
it's going to be a thing. The jacuzzi podcast.
The Twitch followers.
yes.
Okay, yeah, right.
If we hit
Did you say we're at
2,000
5?
I was thought.
Five
Yeah, I was thinking
followers?
YouTube.
We're
Massive.
almost at 5.
Yeah.
If we hit 2,000 midstream,
Oh,
is it like we grab the equipment and we run out the back?
yeah,
Yeah.
if we got 2,000 people on the stream right now, then yeah, we get I'd order a jacuzzi to come around right now.
Oh
It
damn.
might not
people-
be that far off. We've got to get in shape, gentlemen.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just do a bunch of double bicep poses and I'll be fine. I think that's how you get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are.
That's what I used to do. It's very subjective. that way.
We are
Yeah, I've heard that,
1,000.
actually.
We're 1,992 people away from.
Oh,
that-
good. I
that
thought you were
number.
saying we're at 1,992. I was like, oh,
No,
nuts.
I just on this stream. We got 8 people watching. Like
Ah,
it's
perfect.
big
I
numbers.
thought you were saying we were proper close, and I'm like, it's happening.
Yeah. He's actually going to
no,
order.
we'll do a jacuzzi stream, but we need to work out what the goal is.
Yeah, give me like, I don't know, 12 to 15 years or something and I'll get in shape for that.
Bit of trend.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be hitting my physical prime in like my mid 40s, mid 50s.
That's what they
something like
say. That is what they say.
Yeah.
He's hoping.
Yeah.
Because I'm on the
yeah.
decline. Everything hurts.
Yeah.
I absolutely derailed where we were at.
Yeah. No, it was worth it though.
Healthy hobby, stress release.
Yeah, we're talking about the stress release. Yeah.
Yeah, the meditation.
Yeah, so I was talking about fitness and
Yeah, you used fitness as.
yeah, and then you can only go for a run once a day. I mean, I hear people can do 2. That's terrible advice.
Insane.
And so I was searching for something that I could do in my quiet time, but then share socially. And my mates were in the same position. And so, yeah, we discovered painting, rolling dice, banter.
So good. And you said you started off with board games. What type of games what was the gateway game?
What was the gateway game? It's not the old school games like Monopoly and things like that. I get offended when you bring those up. But no, picture Kickstarter games like your American Trash style. It might be an adaptation of a film like The Thing is a game we play. There's Forbidden Stars is the 40k one. Let's not talk 40k. What have I got? Cosmic Encounter. So you're just like,
I'm like, who are you? What is
so
what are
still
these
rolling
games?
dice, but beautiful artwork, fun interactions with everyone, and even simple games where it's a deduction game. So you can sit there and just yell at each other.
Yeah.
You just vent like crazy and go, no, it's just a game. The game's helping.
It's a rule. Like, don't read that.
Yeah. So, and it was a couple of us, and then we just started bringing in people from work and from our lives who were like, board games. You sit in a little basement and roll dice. That sounds absolutely terrible. You losers. And they'd turn up for one and go, I'm now coming to all of these.
Yeah,
This
when
is
are you having
amazing."
the next one?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's so good.
Yeah, and so I got to the point where we had 10 or 15 of us in the basement. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Ooh."
How good. So not only went for like a solo stress relief thing for yourself, you've now like spread that vibe.
Yeah.
That's so good.
And I love that I can get both out of it. 90% of it is still me just unwinding and in my own little world and introverted. And then the next bit of sharing it with either content creation or hanging out with a mate and painting is that bit where I'm like, all right, I'm ready to be a little extroverted.
Yeah.
And we'll talk and then cut.
Yeah.
Get out. I want to be quiet again.
Yeah. That's very cool. It's cool that you've been able to share that with people as well. Like,
Yeah.
that's very
I
good.
spent so long hiding it. I was just like, wait, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
But no, I was like, I don't want people to know that I paint action dollars.
Yeah,
in
a
my
lot
basement.
of. I think there's a lot of people that are a bit like that, but
Yeah.
you do get to a point. I feel like you get to a point. You're just like, yeah, I don't like actually really enjoy this.
Yeah.
And if people judge me for enjoying something that I like doing, then that's a them issue.
I think it's something that comes with like being like the self-confidence level that you get to eventually at whatever stage of your life, where you're like, this is me, this is what I enjoy. If you judge me for it, that's on you. Like, I don't care.
One of my favorite things is when you're chatting to someone who you don't know and they're just like, hey, so what sort of things are you into? And I'm like, oh, you know, mate, like four-wheel driving, bit of fishing. Or this, and they go, yeah, same. I definitely do the fish thing as well. I go, yeah. And they're like, what else? I'm like, oh, you know, just some quiet time stuff. Like maybe I'll just play a board game with the kids. Like with the kids, I'll play board games without the kids. I'm like, yeah, same. What else are you into? And they go, oh, you know, like, doesn't have to be on a board per se. You could have a table and move some stuff around.
Like, on the top of your table, you're saying?
Like you take something impressive, but you scale that right down, you know? Like whatever scale, like 28 millimeter, for example.
Yeah.
And they go, yeah, you could throw some paint on it. I'm like, yeah, buddy, you don't know what you're talking about. And then someone else will walk over and be like, what are you guys talking about? I'm like, I'm working on a Shelby Cobra Mustang in the garage. Becca and I were just talking about that.
Yeah.
They're like, talk about minis? I'm like, yes.
Does your Shelby Mustang look like an Achilles Ridge Runner from the Gene Stealer Colts? Because mine does.
Have you guys done origin stories on your podcast? I imagine that was like episode 1.
It was episode 1.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do a quick rerun for people if they wanted, because I don't know how many people are going back to watch that.
6. I checked the numbers. But no, please.
That's more
and
than
also how you guys met.
Yeah.
We'll do it. Yeah, we'll do a quick. So Mike and I met at work, which we no longer work together.
We were both
anymore.
working on Shelby Cobras. Would you believe it?
I would believe it.
Shelby Cobra Mustangs.
Yeah,
The very same.
I pronounce it so flawlessly. You must believe it.
Yeah. So Mike and I met at work, and by then I was at that stage of like showing people what I do. Like I didn't. I think you get to a point where you're working with someone and you're just like, oh, so like you're saying, what do you do? And instead of me dancing around the subject, I was just like, I paint this stuff. And he's like, Warhammer. I did Warhammer when I was younger.
Yeah. And they drop the W word, you know you're on.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's sort of how Mike and I met. I got into the hobby a bit later. I got into the hobby when I was 28. That was like my first foray into the hobby. I didn't do anything when I was younger. I'd seen it when I was younger, but I never did anything with it. And instantly I was like, man, I want to get better at painting. My painting wasn't great at the start. And I was like, I just want to improve at the painting. The gaming side's cool, but I need to have painted armies. So it sort of just evolved from there. And I dropped in and out a few times. You know, life gets a bit hectic and you can put the models down, but I always came back to them. And yeah, Mike was the one that convinced me to start doing content creation. So
you guys do content creation?
We try.
Yeah.
We do try.
Yeah, we try. Definitely. But like, yeah, my story was like, my story was very much shorter than that. Basically, I started when I was like 12 or something like that, somewhere around then. And then pretty much didn't know where to go with it. So eventually dropped it until I met him. And I was like, oh, I used to do Imperial Guard was the army that I had. And he's like, they're not called that anymore. And I was like, what?
I think you'll find you're not allowed to say that.
Yeah. Sorry.
And
Yeah.
you're lucky we haven't been overheard.
Latin.
Yeah. So
You know you're Latin?
they're Astra what now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, this is I can't deal with this. This is ridiculous. But
Do you know
then
they changed back from that? Do you know that? Because
they went Astra Militarum, then something else, and then
no,
Astra
they're
Militarum
still
again.
called the Astra Militarum, but they went for, you know how Space Marines for a while were calling the Adeptus Astartes? That's what the Codex was called. No, they went back to Space Marines because I think people were just like,
I want Space Marines.
Should I stop using that hashtag? Oh, man.
People use that. No.
That's why your algorithms are stuffed.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. We understand algorithms here at BFG.
100%.
We have a whole department dedicated to that.
Yeah. It's called luck.
But yeah, then I saw Justin's stuff because you'd bring it into work, which was cool.
Because
as
Riley
well.
would want to see it.
And I hadn't seen people that shared Warhammer really. Like,
Yeah, one of the other guys would like to see my models in. I'd show him a photo and he'd be like, "Oh, can you bring it in?" And I'll check it out. And I was picking Mike up at that stage, so Mike would get the first look at the model. Would be in the car, and he'd be like, "Oh, give me a look."
got a sneak peek. It's pretty good.
You'd be like, maybe don't bring this one in.
No, I haven't said that yet. But yeah, I looked at his stuff and I was like, oh damn. I can't believe someone actually went to the effort and painted it just like the box. Like, because when I first started painting, I was like, yes, these guys look so sick on the box. I definitely want to paint them like that.
Yeah.
First coat of paint, like based everything up, and then the skin was like looked like he'd been like it was a shrimp colored skin.
Yeah.
It wasn't good.
And then you're just like, the whole hobby is a lie. No
Yeah.
one can possibly achieve
This is impossible. Like
I spent 30 minutes on this. Why does mine not look like that?
yeah, Photoshop wasn't around, but there's definitely Photoshop going on.
100%.
And then I see Justin's stuff, and I was like, "You buy this like this? Like, how is this? How is this possible?" And then painting with them and things like that, you just see how much time and effort it takes, and the kind of results you can get by putting in effort, and having like the right direction and systems. Because I noticed the one thing with his painting is he's got all these like nice simple systems in place that if you follow them, you get the same result basically.
It's very methodical. I was watching you last night, and I love that. And not on your stream. It's one of the windows. There's a bit of bushland.
I thought it was a bird.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just such a methodical process of everything looks the same. It's just bang, bang, and it's that rotate the model and the brush goes again. And it's, yeah. But anyone else, you're like, oh, it's a slow process, and you can see that it's just maximizing all of it. It looked unreal.
Yeah.
Especially
the
efficiencies
efficiencies
as well, and entertaining people. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it sort of becomes second nature because I have done it for 13 years. It's sort of like my apprenticeship. You stuff up a bunch of stuff, right?
Mm.
And the best thing you can do from your stuff ups is learn from it. So I think you almost learn more from when you fail than when you succeed on a model. So I stuffed up a bunch of stuff early on, and then I was like, oh, what am I doing wrong? Oh, I need to thin my paint a bit more. Wait, that's a bit too thin. Like people will hear me on stream and be like, oh, that's too thin for that edge highlight. So I need to add a bit more paint. So it ends up being just a process of, just sucking and then realizing how not to sucks to suck. Just working on fixing things. So, and if I can pass that on to people to make it easier for them, then fantastic. And it's stuff like it's so much easier just to paint towards yourself. So you just continually rotate the model, and you might not think of that when you're first in the hobby. You might be like, well, I have to hold it here the whole time. Yep. And then my hand moves with where it needs to paint the model, instead of being like, oh, I can just rotate the model and then do a line that way and then turn it completely upside down. So
is that a hobby hint? Do we need a little tracker in the camera?
Is it a hobby? Yeah.
Yeah. It's free. The rest will be behind a paywall.
Yes. Patron.
Yeah. So, you were using it as, we'll go back to your story for a second. Were you using it as like a way to catch up?
This is a Guy Ritchie movie now.
Yeah.
We've gone all the way to the end, and then we're back at the start.
And we'll give a tiny bit more info.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, of course it makes sense.
And it's all going to be interconnected. Yeah. Yes. So the guy I bought my Imperial Guard off back now.
So, but wait, if you're newer to the hobby, and how did it lead to you guys pulling the trigger on content creation?
The community.
You can tell this. Well, it wasn't a community because you. I don't know what it. I think it might have been a combination of me at work, basically teaching Mike, like how to be a sign writer at the time, like how to apply vinyl. So I'd go through steps, and I like to try and explain things as simple as possible, like instead of complicating it.
I need it simple.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah. So, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you saw the way I would teach you how to do sign writing tasks, and how I did my painting, and be like, well, you could do that with the Warhammer stuff. Mm. So you pushed me into doing some TikTok stuff. Other friends be like, you should get on TikTok. And I was like, no, I'll just stick to putting stuff on Instagram. And you're like, no, you should really start.
You had to deal with me every day. So he's like, Yeah.
So eventually we did. I put my first post up, and it got a few reactions, and it took us 3 or 4 months to get to 1,000 followers, which is when you can go to live.
Oh, yep.
And Mike's like, well, you're going live now. And I was like, yes, I don't know about that. And he's like, well, you sort of have to. And you were saying you could just help people do stuff. And I was like, no one's going to want to listen to some Australian guy.
Turns out we do want to listen.
Turns out I was wrong. So.
Yeah. But I think, as well, when Justin decides to do something, like if he's like, fine, I'll put it on TikTok. It's not like I'll put one post up. Like, I'm pretty sure you posted 3 posts a week.
Yep.
Every week for like kind of like his live streaming every night for forever until the end of time.
Until I run out of actual models to put up for content, which is lucky I had a backlog. It was very lucky I had a backlog of models.
Yeah, you had a lot of models on your phone or that you could at least take photos of and then post that night. So he did 3 photos a week or 3 reels a week, for however long it took you to get to 1,000. And then he went live and I was like, you got to go live. Like, how sick. That sounds fun. Let's do it.
Which is where background Mike came from, because he was chilling out in the background.
Yeah.
And you could hear him talking in the background, and our friends from work were like, is that Mike in the background?
Yeah, like people were either heckling me or I was heckling people.
Yeah, they're like, is that Mike in the background? And then they're like, oh, background Mike.
I think we were actually chatting because we thought no one was going to be in the stream. Yeah. So we were just like chatting, like hanging out. And
they're like, I know that voice.
Yeah. And then is that Mike? Yeah. Is that Mike in the background?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's where background Mike came from. And then
yeah, it's definitely not like a negative name. Like it was something that
No, I was just literally in the background, which is where I preferred to stay, to be honest.
the first foreground Mike froze up.
Yeah. So I think someone was like, oh, we need to chat, we need to hear from Mike. And I was like, I think I came over to paint or something like that. And I'm not even sure if I was painting. I was trying to read the comments and see what Justin was doing. And there was like comment after comment after comment. And I'm like, I'm good. Thanks for asking. And it took me so long to reply to one comment. I missed like 3 others. And I was just like, this isn't for me. This is not my strong suit.
Now you're in the center chair.
Yeah. Forcefully made to sit in the center chair by an aggressive badger. Would you believe it? No. No. So yeah, the first podcast we did was definitely community inspired. I think. Did you have makings of a podcast in your mind?
No. We'd never spoken about doing a podcast. There was a bunch of times throughout our journey, which is still continuing, but early on there was a lot of times we would just look at each other and be like, hey man, I never thought we'd be doing a podcast, or hey dude, I never thought we'd get invited to like DreamHack. There was like a bunch of occasion where we'd be like, I never thought we'd have 15,000 followers on TikTok or start a podcast. And it was very community driven. The community were like, you guys should do a podcast. And we were just like, I don't know about that. And then they
heard me freeze up once and they're like, I want more of that.
Yes. Constantly put him under pressure.
You're all insane. Yeah.
And then they
I want to see him break.
They pushed us to that point, and you know, we do joke about making money with content creation, but as you know, on YouTube, like it is pretty slow going. Unless you're one of the big boys, it takes a lot of effort to sort of financially benefit from anything. And we were getting gifts on TikTok, and I don't even think it was anything from YouTube yet.
No.
We're making some gifts on TikTok, and we're just like, well, we don't know exactly what we want to do with any of the funds that we've generated from Battleforge Gaming. All we know is we want to put it straight back into Battleforge Gaming. And at that time, we're just like, the setup for the painting's fine. Let's look at doing a podcast. So then, yeah, it was thanks to the community and their efforts that we were able to get the podcast gear. We could have got it ourselves, but it would have been probably would have taken longer to get the finances together to do that. So most of the stuff we do, we can attribute back to the Battleforge gaming community, because the more they support us, the more stuff we can do.
Absolutely.
What are some ways they can support you?
Watch this episode.
Yes.
Yeah, like, share, subscribe.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and go check out Flashing Badger, because he's here as well, supporting us.
And as much as the gifting and the subbing and stuff like on Twitch is really, really good, it would be fantastic if Battleforge Gaming and probably your page as well could just passively generate enough income to really start being able to push more content, which it is a long road, you know, unless you dive headfirst into it and be like, I'm going to quit my job. I'm not at that stage yet. You'd have to get to the point where it was like, maybe I do part-time work and then I do part-time content creation.
Yeah, that's got to be the dream, that crossover point.
Yeah.
Oh,
Where you go, I reckon I could almost go half and half here.
Yep.
That'd be crazy. Yeah. That point would be like, another one of those moments. Like, I can't believe that's happened.
Yeah.
I think the three of us were just like, yes.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed the battle report helps with this type of stuff. That's what I'm, you're sort of limited with the excitement you can generate from a live streaming.
Unless Mike's here. This Mike.
Yeah, true. Entertainment on tap.
Yeah.
Just that was meant to be pouring a beer.
Point to me every now and then and I'll just scream.
Yeah, perfect.
It'll wake everyone up and I'm like, right, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm paying attention.
But the funny thing is, on stream last night, Buddha made a pretty good example. He's like, do you know every time you stream every night for 3 hours, it's basically like a paint class? And I was like, I've never really thought of it that way. It's quite literally what a lot of people are charging for on Patreon, except I'm doing it for free on Twitch every night for 3 hours, answering questions live for people. Like if people come in and they're wanting color recipes or...
And you've been doing this every night for over a year.
Yeah, 15 or 16 months with like maybe 7 nights. It's probably actually, I didn't take into account the dream hack we missed. It's probably 10 total nights.
Yeah, he went to like a
year.
Chuka once. That was just...
Yeah, that was stupid. Who needs to see family?
I think that was like your first night off.
Yeah, it was.
In like
Yeah, it was
forever.
like 2 or 3 nights in a row.
Were you having withdrawals and you started
Yeah, it was
lashing out
weird.
at them?
Yeah,
You're like, you understand, there's somewhere I'm meant to be right now.
yeah, I was hanging out with my friends I hadn't seen for ages. My brother, I'm like, oh, this is so boring. I just want to paint models.
Yeah. And they're like, what's news with you? What are you doing? You're like, nothing right now. I should be painting. But
Yeah.
I'm drinking cocktails and listening to music.
You're like, oh, Justin seems off. But I was watching and it's like, even when you took a break for a second, for a minute, and you were just focusing on your painting, I'd just suddenly look across and go, oh, that's something I should be doing different with my painting. Like I'd see the way you're holding or the way you maneuver the brush and I'm like, there's a free tip. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and Buddha's another example. He brought it up. He sends me photos of his ultramarine Terminators quite often, and what he's learned from just my streams is crazy. Like his painting is just accelerated so
Like he's learned
fast.
how much people hate ultramarines.
Oh yeah, last night the ultramarine hate was real.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Where was Ultramarine 40 for that?
He wasn't in last night. No,
Oh.
he was in this morning stream though.
Oh, what happened? What happened to the Ultramarines?
Oh, they were just cop and hate, just because they're the poster boys.
What happened to the Blood Angels?
I don't know. They lost their father.
Oh, sad.
Too soon.
Too soon.
Podcast just got real.
Yeah.
didn't it?
But yeah, that's I think it's interesting with the podcast because that kind of really put you out there. Like they put like the whole face and like,
Us?
yeah, us out there. Yeah, I was there too, actually. I forgot I was there for that. Yeah, that was like the first time or one of the first times like
It was a face
It was
reveal.
kind of like a face reveal.
It was the actual. I hadn't shown my face for, I don't know, however long we were on TikTok. I hadn't shown the face,
Yeah.
and then the first face reveal was on the podcast.
You
No,
did it the cool way though. You weren't hiding it because he was like, if you want to see my face, just go to my Instagram.
Yeah, it was on the Instagram.
And then
You're
people
like, no, that's not as cool.
yeah. But like that was pretty good, I thought, because then no one's like, oh, why won't you show your face? Like
What are you trying to hide?
Yeah. Did you
Phantom of the Opera?
because how did you get into the streaming side of it? Like you went from like low key to talking about it with work colleagues and mates.
Yeah.
And then streaming. Or
Yeah,
like
and all
then
of a
YouTube.
sudden, yeah, face was up. So
Yeah.
it started off Instagram as well. And it was, hey, I'm painting these models. And I set up a side Instagram account, which was not linked to me and anything. It's just suddenly models are going up. And
Is
people
this where Flashing Badger comes from?
No, but that'd be amazing. There's
Where
an
does-
origin story to that. And it's really boring.
No, I need to know that one because that was like my first question I wanted to ask as soon as you showed up. And I was like, don't ask it. Wait
I
for
want
the
to make something
podcast.
up now.
No.
Flashing Badger
I'm
was-
just picturing a little badgers walking past you on the street and just like flashed you.
Out of a trench coat.
Yeah.
I hear they do wear trench coats.
Yeah, and I was forced. So what other name could I pick? But no, so there's a couple of mates. There's myself, Gordon, and Dingles. And Gordon and Dingles both live nearby and they're amazing and they support me with everything. But they're the board gaming mates with me. And we sat around one day and we're like, oh, we want to make our own board game. Foolproof. What could possibly go wrong? And Gordon, nicknamed Flash, we were like, hey, let's merge it together. And I've forever used the handle of Badger when we do gaming. So yeah, it was just Flashing Badger. There wasn't something amazing behind it. I'm sorry. And then we had the logo made, and we're like, that's pretty funny. And because I had the logo, I'm like, well, that can be the logo of whatever Instagram account I make to post my minis.
Perfect.
So I was like, oh yeah, Flashing Badger, and what is it? It's painting.
Yeah.
And then I sort of committed from there that everything I did from that point onwards, I'm like, I guess I got to stick with it.
Yeah, you're somewhat committed. Like, same with BFG Justin. Like, you're not changing that.
No, not
I think we thought about it at one point as well. I feel like there was like,
what do we think?
maybe I was voting with someone else. Anyway, but no.
Like, there's different nicknames. There's the Paint Daddy.
Yeah, there
But
is
that's
the
a bit
Paint Daddy.
something else, isn't it? That one.
I can't remember if we were toying with that or whether it was just changing your whole Instagram page to Battleforge Gaming.
It is going to. BFG
Okay.
Justin is going to change to.
There you go. Maybe it was that vote I'm thinking of.
No, it is going to change.
But yeah, because I was like, oh, BFG Justin is now your persona. Like, I refer to you as BFG Justin. We go out to any event or whatever, you're referred to as BFG Justin.
Yeah.
Like, which is weird. Like, and being called like background mic and stuff is just bizarre. Like
the time Nath rocked up at DreamHack, Little Net was sitting behind you. He's like, he's there with his partner. And you just hear a little whisper in the background. That's background mic.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So good. Yeah. But that's like crazy. And then, you're now Flashing Badger. Like, I know you as Flashing Badger. Like, that's
hilarious.
Yeah. Like, calling you Mike is like, we've already got a Mike. So it kind of seems redundant, but you know what I mean.
You can rename me.
No, but yeah, like you're known as Flashing Badger, which is cool.
Yeah.
That's sick. And then what my main question for that was like, how
There
did
was
you,
a question?
Yeah.
There was a question?
How did you make the leap to like
Yeah, the
putting your
transition
face
across. Yeah.
out there? Because for us, it was like noticeable, like, we're actually going to be our whole human selves in front of people.
Yeah,
on a
I didn't
podcast.
want anyone to know. I wanted that to be my secret hobby. Was I paint minis on the side? It's in the basement downstairs. It's locked away, and to everyone else, I'm still this manly man that does cool stuff.
Yeah, Shelby
And
Cobra,
then-
whatnot.
Yeah,
Shelby Cobra Mustangs.
Cobra Mustang. And then
Do you
one
know
by
people
one,
are getting so triggered because I don't think is there a Shelby Cobra Mustang? I don't know.
There's
if
no
there is.
chance.
I know there's a Shelby Cobra and there's a Mustang.
Yeah, I gotta continue
and then there's
to add
a
more
Shelby
bread.
Mustang,
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
and then there's I think there's a Mustang Cobra, but
you're
I don't
forgetting
know if
about-
there's all three.
Yeah, the Shelby Cobra Mustang
Let's get it at
Silverado.
last. Yeah, and I didn't want anyone to know. And so one by one, people would start to discover it. And they go, wait a second, I saw something on Instagram and your friend and that person's friends with this person who's friends with this person. It must be you. I'm like, nah, that's crazy talk. That's crazy talk. How many
This is
people you
Cluedo.
talk?
Yeah.
And then it was the same, a couple of mates asking me how I painted something, which is madness when you see my models. They're terrible. So they were very sheltered. They hadn't seen professional artists yet. And it was, I'll put together a short video for you and send it across as something dorky to do. And did that. They loved it. Sent it to a few other people who were like, maybe you could do that.
Oh, cool.
And so I really enjoy the hobby community. I love the people. And it wasn't me saying, I'm a decent painter so I can share that. It was more just me going, I want to be around those people. They're all lovely. They're all supportive. It's really entertaining. And I'd watch all the same videos as you guys and laugh and go, oh, I kind of want to do that as well.
Yeah.
And then there was no way to half commit. So when from day one, it's got to be, this is me and I paint.
Yeah. Awesome. That's so
I
good.
feel like that's the way to go about it too if you're going to get into content creation. Like, it's a lot of effort to create any type of content, as you know. And it just seems so crazy to start creating stuff and then, as you know, sometimes you put something out there and it doesn't hit. You don't get a lot of views
I
on
know
it.
about that, would I?
Yeah.
I know about that for
Early
every
on.
video.
Yeah. So I mean, this is the thing. Like like a couple of our podcasts only got 180 views. I think the last one got 220, and we think all of our podcasts are absolutely amazing in terms of.
We might be biased.
Do you have a best one? It can be so far. It can be mid podcast. Okay, thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Episode 18. You heard it here.
I think, in all honesty, I think each podcast has.
Please keep me.
I think each podcast has just a place somewhere in the podcast. It's like I'm like that podcast was really good because of that part there. I don't think there was any one particular standout.
Yeah, for me, I don't know if I've said it on the podcast before, but I love them because I learn so much every time because I'm new to the hobby.
The first one with Kieran blew your mind.
Yeah, I was exhausted after it. I was like, I think this is episode 4.
Like, Justin, I'm going to need you to pack everything up.
Yeah, it was episode 4.
The
And
one
I was
where
just
it's like hair, you put
like,
hairspray on models,
Yeah.
and you like looking at me like, he's lying, isn't he? And I'm like, no.
Yeah, I actually literally looked across at Justin and I was like, this guy's talking some smack right now. Like, and he's like, no, that was like a genuine thing that we do and did and still do. And I'm like, what? How would you know to do that? Like, it's the most bizarre stuff. But yeah, and like meeting people like yourself, it's just always super interesting to hear how people find it through Lord of the Rings. And then, you know.
And now I'm just an OG in the hobby, over 1 million followers, big time, big league.
Absolutely. Yeah. Helipad. Everything.
The very same. Next to the harbour with the yachts.
Yeah. They hate that.
Yeah.
You haven't got a boat with a helipad on it yet?
Oh.
That's sad.
Jeez.
I'm just going to talk to my agent.
Yeah.
Just going to take a quick break. We'll go through that contract with you.
You get me one of those?
You have to stay a minimum of an hour. No, but yeah, that's so good that you just dove straight in. That's wicked. And you've obviously like amassed.
I was talking about that, wasn't I? I just completely got sidetracked with the helipad. Yeah, being deterred by the lower viewers is something that can stop people from doing content creation when realistically you just got to keep going with it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're doing it for the viewers, then you're probably doing it for the wrong reason. If you're doing it for
the views, you mean?
Yeah. If you're doing it for
the viewers, stuff
no,
you guys
for the views. That's what I meant. Yeah. If you're doing it for
everyone
the community,
leaves.
Yeah. If you're doing it for the community,
Yeah.
wanting to help people, then it doesn't matter how many people look at your stuff. And it would
talk about resilience. I've been going 2 years with low views.
Yeah, but that's like nothing in the scheme of things. Like even some of the bigger guys, like sure, there's some guys that go viral and stuff straight away, like, you know, heaps of people. But
must be nice.
Yeah. But then there's totally guys that have been doing it for 10 years and they were doing it before it was even a common thing to do. Like now everyone's got a podcast or whatever. But there's guys that have super.
Not everyone's got 20 apps though, and we're closing in on it.
Yeah.
And you were alluding to it as well, that if you're doing it for the right reasons, that you naturally draw people in because they sense your passion and your excitement for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's easy to maintain as well. Like if you're just having a good time, like it's easy to show up each week and do it. Like it's not like a hassle. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe I got to try and pretend to be like happy.
I'm happy with my B grade painting and my dad jokes. So it comes naturally.
Absolutely. Yeah. The dad jokes are killer. I think that's like every YouTube channel needs more dad jokes.
I think the joy I get from them is I'll make those little clips and stuff and then show my wife and be like, this one. And she'll just be deadpan and watch it and be like, don't put that online.
And you're like, that one's perfect.
And I'm like, amazing. And she's like, it's not funny. Don't do it. And I'm like, tell me more. And I put it up and she'll hear it in the background when I'm editing and she's just like, oh, no. So that fuels me.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, no, I'm hilarious at home. I get so many laughs. It's great.
What happens on the podcast?
Why are we turning this podcast into a house of lies?
Everyone just like, I'm waiting for the comment from my girlfriend being like, this is ridiculous.
I love that your girlfriend watches. I said to my wife, I'm like, so I'm on this podcast today and these guys are some big heavy hitters and this could be huge for the channel. And I'm like,
I heard they
I thought we agreed no more lies.
I'm like, do you want me to set it up so you can watch? She's like, why would you do that? And I'm like, well, they also replay it. So on our drive on our holiday tomorrow, maybe we'll... And she's like, I wouldn't have thought so. I'm like, keeping me grounded.
Yeah, it'll be up on Spotify tomorrow. Like, you can just put it on...
You can put the playlist. Just do the playlist. Go from one, and then you can make your way. Like,
oh yeah, just trick her. Be like, I just really want to see how these guys go. Like, they seem like a growing channel. Like, I don't know. I think they're at like 18 episodes now or something.
These guys are really famous, and anyone affiliated with their show,
it'd be a big thing.
It'd be huge.
It'd be massive. Yeah.
And then get to my first opening, you're like, Flashing Badger, I'm like, click off, and I'm like, she's all over me.
I found it hilarious because I did the first episode that we did, I think, and I get a message from my partner, and she's just like, send me a video of like me on the TV. and the dogs and her like watching.
How awesome is that?
And I was like, sweet, we had 3 viewers. That's
Yes.
awesome.
That's terrible when you have a video with like 3 viewers and your partner is like, hey, I saw that. You're like, I had
Dang
2 viewers. But it makes it real as well. Like I'll see a video I put up and it gets millions of views. But no, it gets like 100 views. And I go, that's 100 people apparently have watched it. But someone I know or someone I haven't seen in years will suddenly send me a screenshot. And I've had the ones that's like the feet up on the couch, the dimly lit room, the glass of wine, and my stupid face on the telly.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're just like, if you don't mind, I'm just kicking back with some entertaining viewing this evening. I'm like,
That's so
like, that
good.
just got real.
Yeah, that's sick.
We've had that in a few Instagram stories. It's pretty cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so trippy to think people want to listen to you. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to listen to me. Like, way to go, guys, sticking in there. That's
They're like sending models to people because I look at it, I go, oh no, I've made so many mistakes on this model. And I'd show my wife and she'd be like, it looks a bit dirty. I'm like, baby, that's weathering, that's battle damage, that's what that is. And she's like, no, if you cleaned it, people might like it. I'm like, you don't understand.
I paint clean models. I tell you what, they're like, you should put some battle damage on that. So it just goes to show you just can't
That's
please
right.
anyone.
And I'll send it across the world and someone will open it and they'll post all over their socials and in our channel and everything and just be like, check this out, I got this today. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that made it real. Someone's on the other end who loved it. I'm like, that's really cool.
that's killer.
When I say someone, there's probably one person.
Yeah, I think it wouldn't be more than that. No way. That's the coolest. I've like wanted Justin to get his models in the hands of people as well because like for me, it was such a inspiration to see them in person. I was just like, it's so sick. And it'd be the same for your followers. Like they see your models and they're like, that's freaking actually Flashing Badger like painted that.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty crazy.
And did you have that at work where you show them and they do that lean in real close and they go, that's actually quite small. And you painted this. You're like, yes.
Yeah. How do you paint that?
And, like, and
With
that
a
took me
brush.
17 hours. And like, took you 7. And they're just like, all right, you need a better hobby. This is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was telling my boss about what Jaddy does, and I was like, yeah, they're like maybe that big.
Yeah.
Trying to describe it, and he's like, that's pretty small. and I showed like his Instagram. He's like, and that is this big. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay, that seems hard. Yeah, it's freaking sick.
It is when you first start until you start learning your processes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like it took me ages to have the courage to paint an eye on a Space Marine. And you best believe the first eyes I painted on my Space Marines weren't fantastic. Took a long time to get them to the point they are now, but they can always be improved upon. So
2 things. 1, please do not show any of the eyes I've painted. And 2, when we go offline, you go teach me how to paint eyes.
I can if you want, yeah.
Okay, just for the record, I'm gonna cut this section so that there's just just a slideshow of all the eyes that Mike's painted.
Oh, I had a good run.
Yeah,
with the thin your paints guy in the background.
Yes. Love that.
I made sure I moved the mic away for that part.
I was gonna do like an in memoriam type style, but that's okay. I can do that.
I want to set you heaps of tasks now for the editing. I'll be like, now edit this in. And you're like, please stop. Please stop.
Yeah. What did you start painting when you first?
First models.
Yeah.
There was a game called Mercs, which was a tabletop skirmish. You have 10 guys, I have 10 guys, and it's kill team before kill team.
Yeah.
And Necromunda after Necromunda. And I can't remember the company that made it, but they're amazing. And so we played that because it was a fast introduction to tabletop gaming. Because we did the whole, we're not going to get into Warhammer because it's too expensive, too many models. But if you had 10 guys and I had 10 guys, we could paint that and play. And so it was like, knock off Space Marines, knock off this, knock off that.
Yeah.
Painted that and loved it. And then at that time, Orcs brought out the buggies, the 6 new buggies. And I went, I'm not getting into Warhammer.
But they're cool.
But those buggies are cool. And all those incredible names for their buggies. So I bought the 6.
Yeah, obviously.
And when, they sat there and I went, well, I've overcommitted. But then one by one painted the buggies. And I was like, I love that. Got to the end of that and went, well, I guess if I just added a couple of guys, it'd be like a 500 or 1,000 point army. That's not playing Warhammer. I'm not playing Warhammer. I'm not committed to Warhammer.
No.
So then I got a couple of guys. And I was like, now I've added a couple of Dakar jets. These are just planes.
Yeah.
Plenty of people paint planes. I'm not playing Warhammer.
No.
I'm not collecting Warhammer. That's not what this is. 5,000 points. And yeah, so I painted orcs.
Well, I've got the small walkers. I could get a stomper, but it's not collecting.
No.
And that conversation every time a new box would arrive, and my wife was like, "Wait a second, I didn't think you were getting into this hobby. You were so passionate about not getting into that.
Don't
hobby."
worry,
Like,
I'm not.
I'm not.
I'm not a nerd. I know what you're talking
No,
about.
if there was a nerd right here, right now, baby, knock me out. So I've got to go work on the Shelby Cobra Master. Sorry about that.
Silverado.
Yeah. And then orcs are so forgiving that I could make mistakes and just be like, let's weather over the top of that. And who said more rust? And people are like, love those rusty orcs. Am I right? I'm like, yeah. And then from that, just pulled the trigger. It was the Imperium magazine, one of the magazines that came out with Death Guard and Space Marines.
Yep.
And that's when I managed to lure Gordon in. I was like, look at this. Our one big gripe with the hobby is it was expensive. But here's a cheap way. We can get the weekly magazines. I'll give you the Space Marines. You give me the Death Guard. Boom, we're set.
You've learned the perfect way to introduce friends to the hobby.
Yes.
Splitting packs.
Yeah.
And I did the I'll paint for you. I'll paint for you. Painted one model. I'm like, now you got it, right? You got it.
It's all yours. That's so good.
And yeah, he came away with this amazing
5,000 points later.
Yeah. Just this huge Raven Guard army that look amazing. And I had a Death Guard army plus the orcs. And I'm like, oh, we are committed, my friend.
Yeah, we might be playing Warhammer.
Yeah. There's that moment we're sitting there and I was like, hold up. Are we playing Warhammer? It's like, no.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Have you tricked anyone else?
Yeah. I've got,
Tricked anyone else.
hey, look.
How else would you describe it?
Words here, people. Yeah, absolutely. And mates that have done the exact same thing go in, listen, I love the painting you guys do. I can see how that's like relaxing and I want a relaxing hobby. I'm not going to play Warhammer. I'm not going to paint Warhammer. We're just going to paint
Good
a model
news.
or two.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
Why don't you trick your friends into like nicotine, something less addictive? Holy moly.
Am I a drug dealer?
Plastic crack.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I first heard of like people splitting boxes, I was like, oh no, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's a good thing there's no like AdMech and something box.
Games Workshop have perfected it. They're just like, well, you need two armies to play, and it does help if you have two people to play. So they're getting two people into the game with one box. They've worked it out.
The math is solid.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then
in before we start getting boxes with 4 different armies in them. Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Let's get your mate back in here. We're set.
Yeah. But we're not going to play though. We're just going to paint something.
Yeah.
I'm not committed at all.
No. So how many armies do you have now then?
So it was Orcs first, then Death Guard.
This is how many years, mind you?
5 or 6 years.
Yeah. Just for reference.
They're big armies too, because rather than going anything competitive, it is always what do I like the look of and what do I want sitting on the shelf.
It's good. We like the ruler cool here at BFG.
Yeah.
That's always
It always
good.
motivates you to paint more than anything as well. Like meta-based stuff, it feels like a chore.
And I paint so slow. By the time I finished it, people would be like, oh, they're terrible now. I'm like, I do love when I'm painting something that people are like, what is that model? Is that a new release? Like, no, I just don't believe it's very competitive, so you may not have heard of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have the thing where I'm like, I write a list and I'm like, oh boy, it'd be so sick if I painted up like 6 Gravis Marines and a Gravis Captain and they could run up the field and flame everything and then punch them because they're Blood Angels. And then I'm just like, who am I kidding? By the time I paint 6 Gravis Marines and a Captain, it's going to be the next edition.
Be 14th edition.
People will be like, I think I remember those models before they phase them out. Yeah. Must be nice.
Oh, they're in the Legends now.
Yeah.
Put them into the Legends area. Yep.
And then it was the Dream Army, Tyranids.
Oh, nice.
It was that playing StarCraft, playing Zerg, and even as a kid, it was Space Hulk that I remember my neighbors had. And I'm like, I love the bad guys. Tell me more about these aliens. And so, it was straight into Tyranids. And that was the first army that I said from the very start, I want to have a formula of how I'm going to paint them and I want to stick to it. And I want the army, no matter what angle you look at it, it is clearly an entire fleet of bugs.
Yep.
And so rather than, I was testing models and trying new things, it was boom.
So you did a single test model for that?
I did a bunch of test models and even put stuff on Instagram and was like, hey, people, point me in the right direction. Where should I go? And amazing painters were just like, you're onto something. Take this from this and this from this, merge those together, change that color, you're on. And
Simples.
Loved it. And then knights, I painted a couple of knights, chaos knights, because all things spiky. And I think that's where I'm at. And because I ticked all my boxes for what armies I really wanted to own at that point, it was then tiny humans got a little bit older. And I'm like, what would you like? And they're like, I want ultramarines. I'm like, done, we're painting ultramarines. Obviously, I wasn't impressed. That child no longer lives with me.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Up for adoption.
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah, and then
Ultramarines.
Necrons from my other small human. He was like, robots. And
So
I went, yes.
You did have kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you just split a box? No. It's like,
Yeah, how good is that as
so when
well?
you said you tricked more people, you meant tiny humans?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. They are easier to trick.
You've influenced him. You'd be like, hang on, what's the starter box right now?
Yeah, I absolutely did. Because it's like, oh, I want robots, and look at these huge mech walker things from Tau, and I'm like, they're amazing, aren't they? Also, check out these ones. He's like, oh, they're kind of cool, but also like this crisis suit thing, whatever. I'm like,
we
amazing, isn't it? Which is kind of like this. Look at this like
Have you
croissant
seen-
looking thing.
Yeah.
We don't do Tau in this house. We do not do Tau in this house.
Words to live by. I painted my first ever Tau model in a video and just made a big deal out of like this. This is a one and done. Enjoy it, people. You'll never see it again.
You know what they
He's done
say?
2 armies of Tau.
Yeah, you know what they say about
Set me up.
you know what they say about your friend that has Tau? You don't have a friend. Yeah. No, I'll be doing Tau again. It's going to be a thing. After the Blood Angels, they're happening. It's a thing. They're coming back.
I don't. Why?
People are going to absolutely hate my streams. I'll cop so much shit.
Can someone remind me why Tau is so hated?
Because when they came out, they were the first army that was range, like just dedicated to range. Their combat sucks. And to this point, they sort of, I mean, the Kroot have changed things a little bit. The Kroot are a bit better in melee. But for the most part, if you want to play Tau and have them go well on the tabletop, you need to lean into the shooting phase. And in previous editions, they would table people in 2 turns if you went hard. Or even if you went medium. If you went with a medium list, you would table people in 2 turns. So nobody likes getting tabled.
Let alone in 2 turns.
I myself, when I'm playing people, I don't want to table people in 2 turns because I want people to enjoy a game. I don't want someone to walk away and be like, man, I absolutely hated that. I want that person to be like, yeah, that was the sickest game ever. Let's play another one. So I guess the win at all cost people leaned hard into Tau. There was a time when it was Tau, Eldar, and Necrons, and they were all very strong shooting armies. Very, very strong. Eldar had psychic and shooting. So yeah, that's why they cop about a heap of flack because
Gotcha.
Your first bat rep now, I want you to table someone like turn 2 and just be like, this is what it's all about.
Yeah.
I brought you here to table you. And then we flash this bit back over the top.
get out, Alex. You get out right now.
Oh, man.
There's a massive chance Alex will probably table me. There's going to be a bunch of Forge Fiends on the tabletop, and they'll put in work. So
Yeah, that'd be cool. I vaguely remember hearing that about the Tau, that whole meta shooting list type thing where they just would smash people from range.
it was absolutely brutal. Yeah, it was absolutely brutal.
That makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah, so marker lights used to have a different effect in previous editions. When I first got into it in 6th edition, each marker light hit that was on a unit could increase your ballistic skill. So Tau were hitting on 2s all of a sudden, and it was very, very
Ridiculous,
strong.
yeah.
Yep.
That's why you picked Tau, yeah?
Yeah, no, I picked, funnily enough.
You jerk.
Funnily enough, I picked Tau because I liked the battle suits. Like Farsight was the draw card. Like I looked through.
I think Mike's tiny human also liked the battle suits.
Yeah, no. So I looked through the codex and I saw Crisis suits, and I really liked Transformers when I was a kid, and I liked a bit of Gundam too. And I was like, wait, hold up, that one's red. He looks different to everyone else, and he's got a sword. That's cool. And then I lent hard into Crisis suits, and I had no marker light support in my early armies, so like they just sucked. It was just a bunch of dudes just bouncing around the board shooting, and I was like, this looks cool. It's just a whole bunch of suits doing stuff. So yeah, I think for the battle reports, early on we'll be doing like a mixture of like a big educational part of it. That's the first and foremost. We want to be able to get new people into the game and teach them how to play the game, let them know where the rules are coming from and why the rules are happening, that type of stuff. But we still want to have some entertaining battle reports. So like the lists aren't just going to be pushover lists. There'll be some stuff that can remove things from the board, but it's not going to be win at all cost lists. That's for sure.
Yeah. Some hard hitters, but nothing too crazy.
Yeah. And then who knows, with the BFL stuff, that's probably going to be geared towards a bit more of the uber competitive side of things. So hopefully cater to everyone in the hobby. That's the plan.
Yeah. Now, with all the people you've conned into the hobby, do you play much?
I used to play. I haven't played much in 10th. So I've got Gordon that I play a couple of games with here and there. So I'm going to learn a lot from these educational videos. I still watch a lot about reps. I love mini wargaming.
Yeah.
And your channel as well, I promise. You guys will replace them.
Yeah.
Well, mini wargaming with the OGs,
Absolutely,
the first to do it, and that's where I got my first taste of watching people doing like filmed battle reports, and I was like, like even back then I was like, man, that'd be something cool to do. I'd love to be able to do that type of stuff, but you need to work towards it. You know, you need to have a bunch of different armies you can play and a bunch of different people you can play and all the tech setup. So, but mini wargaming, they were one of the OG things I watched, and I was like, yeah, this is really, really cool. But the thing for me with them was early on, I got really into the rules set, and I knew the rules back to front. And then when a rule went wrong, I was like, oh,
you're like, oh, bring me that keyboard.
I was like, nah, I wasn't one of the ones that I wasn't one of the ones that wrote a comment, but I was like, man, actually, that's not how you meant to play that army. No, I was like, oh, that changes that game a little bit.
Yeah.
And then there'd be some comments being like, oh yeah, we know they got that rule wrong, but it didn't really change much. I was like, ooh, yeah, I think it did. I reckon almost changed the outcome of the game. So I got to the point where I'd know the rules a lot and I'd be like, I might stop watching as much of this because like I was getting stressed watching it. So I was like, oh yeah, no, I should back.
Was that an inspiration to do your own battle reports one day, do you think?
Maybe, but I've no doubt that we'll get some stuff wrong when we do
I'm gonna
ours.
watch you like a hawk.
Yeah, now that I'm saying this type of stuff,
people like mini wargaming Dave or Matt.
Yeah, you guys should come.
Like, I've been waiting for this dude.
Yeah, come and pick on this dude.
You remember that time you talked us down?
Who's the big man now? You got him.
I was wondering, I was actually going to ask you how you found it now that you've done a few battle reports live for people, how you found comparing the rules and things like that to when you watched mini wargaming. Like, it's a lot harder, I guess.
Oh, super hard doing a battle report.
To pick up any like inconsistencies.
Yeah,
in the
for
rules
sure. Or forgetting to do stuff. I still notice I forget to shoot pistols when I'm sitting inside an impulsor, which has an open top. So there's just little bits where you can completely understand when people are doing battle reports why things get missed or why certain things get read certain ways. But it also comes down to your opponent, I think, picking you up on stuff too. So I've played my mate Ash a couple of times, and I remember early on he was using Bullgrins, and he was like, so my Bullgrins hit on 3s with their range combat. I was like, ooh, that don't feel right. Bullgrins...
There's some accurate Bullgrins.
Yeah, Bullgrins aren't that smart. I don't know if they're hitting on it. And I was like, can you check that, man? And then he checked, he's like, oh, they're actually hitting on 4s. So sometimes it's about your opponent picking you up and like being a good sport about it too.
Yeah.
Like sometimes if a rule seems too good, it's okay to just be like, oh, can you let me know why you're able to do that? And, 9 times out of 10, they'll probably be able to tell you.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
Get him.
Well, actually, Bullgrins...
Help me flip this table.
Yeah. Man, at least the BFG table is safe from being flipped.
Ain't no one flipping that.
Yeah, except that maybe this guy.
Yeah. Biceps.
Double tricepy buys.
Yep.
Yeah, 2 of these guys.
Yep.
Yeah, so you play a bit with Gordon?
I played in competitions as well. I did a few tournaments. I was terrible. It was 0 and 5 every time.
Yeah.
But I had so much fun. Because I'd turn up and there's these Uber medalists. And I went
People were like, this guy must have won. No, 0 and 5.
Against Tau. And it was that I've got my orc buggies, and they're like, why would you bring those buggies? Those are terrible. And I'm like, look how much fun it is. I race across the board, and they just one by one get destroyed.
Yep.
And I go, oh, I'm getting stomped. But for me, it was so much fun just entertaining my opponent because they went from competitive lists where they were really switched on and focusing on just the win to now they could play me, banter. They're going to get the victory.
Yeah.
But
sometimes those lists throw a spanner in the works for those meta lists because they're like, they're geared to play something else. They're like, wait, hang on. What do these buggies do again?
Yeah.
And you're just like,
got him.
I don't know. You don't know. I don't know. We're about to find out.
So I played it a couple that absolutely loved it. But yeah, no threat of placing.
Yeah. We're not worried about you getting team victory.
I think I did win a game and my opponent and I were baffled. We both sat there going back over it and over it again. We're like, this couldn't have happened.
Check that count again? Yeah. That's awesome.
That's the shock attack gun for you.
Oh, yeah. That's random, that thing. Oof.
That's so good. And yeah, with you, so you're still playing a little bit now, or is it kind of like
we're down to like once a month that 40k will actually come out? It's more that when we do get a chance to catch up, we'll play other board games. And it's also cool for me. It's a break from living in Warhammer world to go, all right, well, let's just get out a game that we haven't played in ages and play that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because a lot of your spare time now, I imagine, would be taken up with creating videos, editing videos predominantly.
And I wish it was all painting. It looks like it's all painting when you see it, but I'll paint and I'll be like, yeah, that was fun. Now I want to paint the next model. And I'm like, oh no, the editing phase.
Yeah.
And I sit there just late at night, just dragging footage and moving things. I'm like, does that transition look good?
Yep.
Did that dad joke hit quite right?
I know, right? And you see it once and you go, and I have to watch it like 30 times as I edit it properly. And each time I go, oh, that's not so funny anymore.
I don't think they're ever meant to be funny like the 30th time around though. So it's just like, if you're on the second go and you're like, yeah, it still hits, you're like, all right, we got a good one.
Some are pretty egregious too. Like in my tower one, it's the Riptide that I paint. I just went too hard too early and it was just fish pun after fish pun the entire way through. And people commenting are like, hey, it was pretty good, but maybe just ease up off the fish.
This is why we hate Tao.
I think that's the thing with YouTube though. Like, you might make a video where you lay off the dad jokes a little bit. They'd be like, oh, where'd all the dad jokes go?
Yeah. Oh, I can never win.
Are you not pleasing everyone on YouTube?
Oh my! YouTube comments are like the favorite part of our world now. We have a segment in our group chat which is just like, I'll say it politely, cheers, mate. And
mean tweets.
Yeah, and we just grab the YouTube comments from the videos and fire them at each other. They're amazing. I get blamed for everything. GW's pricing structure that's come out recently, and
I heard you looked after that actually.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And so
any complaints, send it to Flashing
add
Badger.
that to the list of things that Flashing Badger is accountable for.
Yeah.
Is the pricing structure, everything. But I do love when someone's like, nice try at this mini. By the way, those eyes are terrible. You should probably stop painting. I'm like, he's not wrong.
This is good. I can re-edit the eyes twice.
Yeah, no, stop, opt out.
This is gonna be easy day at the office for me.
Yeah, I could do YouTube comments all day. I absolutely love it. People just roast me.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
our latest one is the music in the background of the Ultimate Guides.
Oh yeah, they've
They're
been
just
getting
triggered by the music in the background. It's meant to be. It's
like elevator music.
This is ambient noise.
It's ambient noise in the background. We can not add music and it'll just be dead silent if you want.
Yeah.
I uploaded a video once and I must have exported without the tracker of
the audio.
The music.
Yeah.
And people were just like, wow, this is bland. This is dumb. And I'm like, this is why I put music in. So don't hassle me about the music.
The best ones the ones that I love the most about the music is some of them will be like, where'd you get this song from? And it's literally like the most default free to use song I can find on the editor. Yeah. And like this song bangs. I was just like, oh, okay. Like
as Justin on the guitar in the background.
Yeah. No, exactly. That's just bizarre. You literally cannot win, that's great.
And music for me is like this vessel for just a sudden hard cut into a bad joke. And then the long pause and the music starts up again.
Yeah,
like,
nice.
Thanks for that.
That's a perfect cue. Yeah, that's so good. Laugh now. But yeah, I think there's a segment of an episode for you guys coming up where we'll just do all the YouTube comments and we'll just combine it and see who's got the best ones.
We've been talking about that because we've made like a compilation of just the horrible comments that people have left me just roasting me. I'm like, there's a video right there.
I occasionally like to hit back.
Yeah.
Like, you take the bait.
Yeah, absolutely. He
I said this
does.
to my mates, and I'm like, am I allowed to? And they're like, don't take the bait. And they always just calm in. I go, good though. I had something funny for this.
He beat the Matrix because he's like, if I comment and they comment back, it's more comments.
Yeah.
The one
keep them going.
the hilarious one was the one that commented on Kieran saying, what a waste of time, go talk to a woman or something.
Yeah, I love that.
And I was just like, oh, so Kieran does talk to his wife every night. Have you got any other recommendations about how he could fill his time in? Yes. And then he commented back and I was like, yes.
I get it every now and then because they forget there's a human on the other side because I'm very robotic. But they'll say something like, oh, this is a terrible paint job. What you should have done was this and whatever. And I'll reply. And because I love any kind of feedback, I'm just like, hey, cool. I'm actually going to try that on my next model. If you got something else, point me in the right direction, but keep it coming. And they're just like, oh, hey, man, listen, sorry about that. Like, it wasn't that bad a job. Like, you're doing all right. You do your thing. All right, like, I've subscribed.
Oh,
and
damn.
I'm like, I love that.
That's
Just
crazy.
suddenly going, oh, there's a dude back there. I'm sorry, man.
Man, we haven't got that response.
I have on one of the lives, there was a guy that used to come in and he'd be like,
I remember that.
you're a loser. And he'd come in all the time. And then there was one time.
You're drunk, Dad. Get out.
There was one time I got him and I was like, oh, hey, man, is everything doing all right your end? Like, do you need a hug or what's going on? And then he's just like, oh, I'm sorry, man. You're not a loser. He's like, I've got a bit going on in my life. Yeah. My wife's not really agreeing with stuff I'm doing. And I was just like,
was it Mike?
Kill him with kindness.
The Warhammer, yeah.
But then I'm always like, those people that start off mean, and then you're just like, what's going on? Are you looking for somewhere to hang? Because we banter, we chat, and they're like, it seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys are actually all right.
And like, you'll actually love this hobby.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll split a box. Come on, just you and me.
What's that? You like towel? Let me tell you about Necrons.
Yeah. Oh man, that's the comment section gets wild. Like, I don't know.
And sometimes I'll be like, oh, this person's outrageous. Like, what are they on about? Like, I sucked at this particular paint job. And then you see the likes next to their comment and it's like 56. I'm like, oh, well, everyone's getting behind them. I got to pick my battles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Turns out it was a bad paint job.
You voted, yeah. No.
I was like, I'll give him a like at this point.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I got to follow.
Yeah, I think, what was the worst one?
The guy that told me to not make a tutorial ever again.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good one.
Yeah, he went hard.
Yeah.
you thin, you're black, it's horrible. Never do a tutorial again.
We should have liked that
probably
one.
One of the hardest ones, yeah.
It'd be like so trippy to be like, never make a tutorial again. Battleforge Gaming likes this. It's like,
but people like come into some of my videos and not realize, like, I know I'm not a great painter. The channel isn't about I'm an amazing painter.
You're putting your stuff out there. You must think you're the best in the world.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, I get that it's not great. I just want to make videos and try and entertain you guys. And if there's someone new to the hobby that will get something out of it, that's amazing. But people will come in and be like, this particular person does it better than you. And I'm like, they do. That person is a professional. They're amazing. You need to follow them for guides. Yeah. If you are after D-grade humor and lots of mistakes, you come here.
You're telling me El Ministura does OSL way better than me? No way.
Yeah.
You're kid.
I love
Get out of town. He's so good.
I've put his link in like so many of my videos because I'm like, listen, I'm copping a lot of heat because my OSL's not great. If you need to learn how to do it, this is the video and this is the guy on Instagram you go check out.
The thing people don't understand is though, like you can make different levels of tutorials for people that are at different stages in the hobby, right? There's those guys like El Ministura and like a lot of those European guys, the Spanish guys that are absolutely phenomenal. You need somewhat of a skill set before you can start doing that anyway. Someone that's brand new to the hobby that's going to try and do that, it's going to be very difficult for them to do. And that's where, like, it's stepping stone.
That's where you need me at the start. To be like, waistcoat.
That was good. You need me.
You heard it here, guys. If you plan on subbing to the El Ministura patron, first you must sub to the Flashing Badger patron first, and then learn all of that.
We're strongly affiliated. You've never seen his face again. That's my pro level.
Well, that's right. You've never seen those two in the same room together. It's like Batman and Bruce Wayne.
Until now, let's bring him out. He's out the back of the headphones on. He takes them off.
Yeah, that'd be imagine. he also cannot be interviewed.
He's out the back with headphones on. This is basically Family Feud, except with, with miniature paint with
You
Jack.
mentioned as well, you're like, you could make videos for different levels of painters. I couldn't. I can make videos for very new beginners.
A specific level of painting.
But I know my place.
But that's like, you know what I mean? Like you can't. It's very easy for people to judge. Very easy for people to judge. So
I do deserve a lot of the negative comments. Though. I understand that, which is why I don't fight them too hard.
You're scrolling down. You're like, fair enough.
It's fair.
Fair enough.
Man knows his minis.
Oh man, but there's like, what do you want to watch? Do you want to watch something that's entertaining, or do you want to watch a guy paint a model for 20 hours? Like, there's different people are going to watch different stuff.
Come to my Twitch if you want the 20-hour one.
Yeah, but like at different times you might want different things. Like it's totally
And when I'm chilling and painting, I will either search for a particular video where I go, I need to learn this technique, so I'm going to watch that person. And if they have a 1 hour video doing it, I'll watch it. But then there's times where I'm like, I want to switch off, entertain me, and I'll turn to those other content creators that they might not be amazing painters, but I'm laughing whilst I'm learning, and I go, I just love what they're about in the hobby.
Absolutely.
Give me that.
Yeah. And I definitely think even watching anyone paint, you can pick up certain tips and tricks by the way they do it. Like, you don't have to be the best painter in the world, but you might have a way of doing a certain thing, and I'd never seen it before. I'll be like, oh, okay, that's actually crazy helpful. Like, that might change the way that I paint. And that's all it is. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be the best painter of that particular thing.
Well, Den spoke about it last week when he said one of his early Space Marines he painted the leather on. He did an absolutely killer job on the leather. And now that he's more experienced a year on, he can't even replicate that.
He was saying, because it was like that comfort of just having a go and the random
just having fun with
worn
it.
leather look. It's like, I can't replicate that now.
Yeah.
And he's more skilled. So
yeah, exactly. Just a bunch of happy accidents.
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's a funny hobby in that way, I think. Like, as long as you're having fun though, I think it is that's why we call it a hobby. Like, if you're stressing about not being the best painter in the world, then I don't know, you might not get the stress relief out of it that you get, the meditation that you get. Like,
and it's my golden rule is that if you're not having fun, then take the step back and work out what it is you need to change to enjoy the hobby again. Because if trying to build the 2,000 point army by a particular date is causing you stress, and then you're no longer sitting down and going, I'm loving this, give me more, give me this, give me that, and just mix it up. Change your goal date, change your end date, whatever, and then reset, find the love again, and it'll never be work. You sit down and have fun.
Yeah. And you mentioned you really enjoyed the engagement you get from the community and things like that, and the way that you engage with the community. You have a Discord.
Yeah.
That everyone can chat on and everything like that.
I do. Here's a plug.
Yeah.
The Flashing Badger Discord.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a group of us, and I think we're up to about 100 people now already. And there's just the different areas like you see in every Discord, but we can suddenly be talking about everyone's pets, and there's just photos of pets going everywhere, which I love. They were talking about ice hockey the other day. I have no idea about ice hockey, but
you Googled it, surely.
I was like, yeah, you're on the ice, mate. Slap it around.
you're like, I don't understand these quarter things. Why don't we have every sport with 3 periods? Yeah.
And then just take a break every now and then just to punch each other.
Yeah.
That's too manly for me. That's intimidating. But yeah, I love the Discord, and I love that now we have the painting competition, which different to normal painting comps, you don't need to be the best to win. Pick anything from your backlog, paint it to the standard you're happy with and what your personal goal is, and you are entered in the comp. Now we spin the wheel, someone wins, and you just tell me what to paint for you next.
That's so
So someone says, yeah, give me a Death Watch Space Wolves captain in Terminator armor with custom bits. I'm like, I'm on it. Gives me a new challenge. I get to paint and send it across. And there's all the work in progress photos, everyone bantering back and forth about what they're enjoying. And yeah, I love it.
I don't know how you found it when you started your Discord. I thought when we started our Discord, we were going to have to police it super heavily. I was so worried there's going to be toxic behavior, a bunch of negative stuff. Everyone's been super cool, bar 1%.
Yeah, we had like 2
Sorry
people.
about being that 1%.
Yeah, that's why you have your own Discord now.
I think we've only had to kick 1 person.
Yeah, I think we've only ever had to remove 1 person from the Discord.
And I think it's the extra steps that someone has to take to be a part of it. That it's like, all right, I'll have Discord in mind. I'll seek out your link. I'll now add it. Now I'll introduce myself and tell you a bit about me. That it can't just be, I see your video and I go, nah, have a negative comment, have a bit of this.
Yeah.
So you're getting the right sort of person already that goes, this is a community, I want to be part of your community. And you have that feeling of wanting to contribute when you get there. I jump into other people's Discords. I'm like, all right, now I want to give them something and I want to contribute. So yeah, it self-manages, it self-polices. And you grab people with the same interests of like one particular crossover of your Venn diagram or whatever that everyone loves mini painting. Just let them loose and you got the right atmosphere.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really good. I think the community's been the biggest surprise for me, I think. Like we said, when Justin first started, I was like, oh, it'll be crazy whoever we get to talk to. Like if we get to talk to an actual person and watch Justin teach them about painting, that would be sick.
Yeah.
And then like 15,000 people later on TikTok or what
and
have
dream
you.
hacking, you're doing painting sessions, things like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That was just, wild. And like, you would have found it yourself. Like you start engaging with people that you might never have crossed paths with otherwise. And it's just such a special thing. Like, and I guess it kind of links back to how you came into the hobby. Like it was just a chance encounter with a certain person. And then.
And I find that so many of us have that in common, that it is, I've got life happening and I need something on the periphery that's not life that I can just go, this is my chance to unwind. And I love that in the Discord and through chatting to people, there's all these people with just they're dealing with things and then they go, now this is where I can relax.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's such a important point to make is that, you do need something. It doesn't have to be Warhammer. It could be Mercs, whatever that is. But like you do need something to, relax yourself, take your mind off things, any stresses. It doesn't matter who you are, you have stresses in life. And it's always good to have an outlet for them. And that's so cool that Warhammer is one of those things. And it's such a great one because it really can let everything, so many people speak on it that everything in the background just fades away.
Yeah.
Because you're focusing on that hobby. I'm curious because you said your work was quite stressful. Did your family notice it at all? The change in your personality or anything like that?
Yeah, there was no hiding it. That my work also involved a lot of travel on zero notice.
Yeah.
That it was suddenly pick up and leave and you're gone for a week.
Yeah.
And so then come home and dad's acting different or husband's suddenly more withdrawn or whatever. So there was no hiding it at all. That have a bad day at work and you go, all right, I need to, it's not something that you can keep pushing to the side. Because I use the analogy of the bucket fills up a little bit each time. And as it goes up, those traits of yours that people go, hey, you seem a bit off today. What is it? It's you suddenly you don't have the bubbly personality and you can't fake it.
It's the dad jokes that would give it away. There'd be less dad jokes, I reckon. Yeah. That'd be something's up with Mike.
He hasn't said something really dumb and really lent into it with such commitment. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was going, the bucket's going up. What is it that I can introduce to now de-stress? And I love that I could go away for a couple of days, have a terrible time, come back home, and my wife would be waiting for me and she'd be like, do your thing, go paint for a bit. And I'd go set up, have my little lamp, watch something, paint. I'd unwind, I'd leave, work at work. I've now transitioned back into being dad and being husband. I'm like, all right, I'm cool. Now let's do it. Now let's cook dinner.
That's so good.
For me, it wasn't, I was already doing the hobby before you met me. So I guess
his stress levels hadn't really got to the point.
I guess my stress levels are super low. No, that's not the case. That's not the case whatsoever. In episode 1, we talk about where I came from and where my stress levels were at. And like with the
somewhat high.
Yeah, with all of what was happening in life, all happening at once, my stress levels were massive. And I wasn't doing the hobby at that stage. But when I jumped back into the hobby, I think you noticed a change in my personality once I started doing content creation and going live. So it was again another step. So I was doing the hobby, which was sort of, making me forget about other stuff. But then I started doing content creation and helping people. And all of a sudden I felt like my old self again, which had been missing for like 3 years. I'd been sort of going through the motions for 3 years and wasn't really happy, wasn't really sad. I was just like existing and just doing a thing. And then once the content creation happened.
Well, yeah, I think looking back now, I've only kind of just thought on it now, but you probably blame the hobby a little bit at some point during like that time of your life. And then live streaming and actually the content creation side where people were seeing the value of it and seeing how like helpful it was to other people probably validated your love of the hobby. And you're like, you know what? It is okay for me to love this hobby.
Yeah.
Because people do appreciate it and people do love what I do. It's like it would have been like a really vindicating moment for you. And then from then you were just like way happier, like easily 10 times happier, I'd say.
Yeah, there was a big blame on the hobby. I was like, man, a lot of stuff happened because of the hobby. And then after I did the content creation and I realized that it was okay to do it, I was like, nah, there's obviously a lot more to whatever happened in the past. Like it doesn't just fall down onto one thing. So yeah, it changed my outlook.
It wasn't just Tao to blame.
Oh, I mean, I was painting a lot.
Responsible. Yeah.
I was painting a lot of Tao at the time. Nah.
That's a scar on a scar, that one. Oh man. Yeah. No, that's
You promised me we were going to just banter and pay each other out, and here we are being real.
Yeah.
We're talking about the healthy hobby.
It got deep.
I do like when the topic does become real, you know, because you can get a lot of surface level type of chat where people are just like,
yeah, I'll play it safe.
The hobby's always awesome, painting's awesome, and it's like, yeah, it is, but like there's also life. And
yeah. And it's cool to hear everyone's different experiences. Like, you know, like I said earlier, like no matter who you are, you'll have a stress at some point. Like if you make it through life without a stress, whoa, good on you. That's a good effort. But yeah, the hobby is a great way to relieve some of that stress and give you like a positive outlet. Like you said, you could easily go to the pub and, you know, drink,
consume the beverages.
Yeah,
we'll go to the pub after.
Smashing pots
absolutely.
with the boys.
Lads.
Put some money on the ponies.
But yeah, you can easily do that. But how, like, do you find that rewarding? Do you enjoy it? Do you like truly enjoy it? Whereas like people like us and those that watch us like truly enjoy it and find satisfaction in it. And I think that's like really special. Which is so great why you guys do what you do, because you're then sharing that with the world, I think. And then you're inspiring others to do the hobby. Have you come across people that watch your channel that haven't hobbied?
Yeah. They're people like, hey, I'm not really into painting, but I can sit and watch this.
Yeah.
I'm just chatting away.
I'm just going to watch. I'm not going to play Warhammer. I'm just going to watch.
And that's been
not committing.
Yeah, not committing at all.
And that's the workmates that they go, oh, I watched one to try and support you to watch the video. And they go, I find myself watching them now. Like, I'm not into this at all, but it's interesting. It's interesting to see what you do. But then
next week, yo, when are you dropping that new episode?
But then the week after that, they're like, you have ruined my algorithm, and they'll show me their shorts feed or something.
Yeah.
And they're like, it was footy, and things like, and then they're like, look at this. It's some other dude painting a mini. I'm not here for him. I was just here to support you. And I'm like, I'm sorry about that. Welcome to the hobby.
Yeah. Want to split a box?
I think there's going to be a future of children. And not saying that, like, you know, playing footy and going to the pub and all that type of stuff is bad, but like when you were growing up, I saw my parents, my dad going to the pub and hanging out with the guys, and you're just like, well, that's what you do. When I grow up and I'm 35, I guess I'm gonna go to the pub with my friends and we're gonna
glass someone. Wait, sorry, what?
Shit. We ended that one.
That's so good.
I paused too long there. I paused too long. I was going to say bet on the horses.
Mike is not allowed to jump in anymore. That's so good. But yeah, the pub is a dangerous place, guys. Stay safe.
There's going to be a bunch of kids that learn both.
I was going to say there's going to be a bunch of kids that potentially my hobby. They might see their parents' hobby and they're like, that's cool. That's what I want to do when I'm older.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah, the mini mics.
My kids are cooler than I ever was. They play sports and they do all these other things, but at the same time, they come home and they'll be like, all right, we'll go to the basement, roll some dice. Let's paint some Space Marines. I'm like, yeah, you can do both. I'm telling you.
You can. Yep, for sure.
That's sick. What age are your kids now? Putting them on the spot here.
Oh, no.
Nah, they're close. 9 and 10 was not planned
That's
to
all
be
right.
that close.
It's easier to remember though.
Yeah.
Like whatever if you know one, you just minus
Yeah.
one. Sweet.
For safe. Now, if you ask me about anniversaries or anything,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
gonna throw it down.
When's your anniversary? Yeah, that's so good though that they're that age and
Yeah,
painting.
they're proper little dudes now, and they're into the hobby, and they have mates that are into the hobby because they're like, oh, I think my dad does that because he knows your dad and whatever. And we bought a box of something and we're painting. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, and then it goes.
Do you work for Games Workshop? Is he just spreading?
That's such crazy talk. That's wild. Listen, I got some merch for you.
Yeah. There's those free boxes we talked about. Yeah, that's so sick. How good.
And it's new people to play with. Like you say, like, oh, do you get to play with your mates and that as often? I don't because I'm a dad and I'm working full time and everything else. And it's now down to once a fortnight, once a month. But every night there's 2 tiny humans that are down to game.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, I love that.
And how much better is it like quality time than like TV or something like that? Like you actually speak to them?
Yeah, I crushed them in Mario Kart first.
Yeah.
Put them in their place.
Important.
And I'm like, now let's play some board games.
Yeah.
Now you know how awesome Dad is.
Yep.
Their
Guess what?
Don't ever
experience-
question me
the
again.
Orcs Codex just came out and it's super strong and you're about
Yes.
to learn. You're
But we
about to learn
played-
today.
Switch is the 4 of us, and they're like, oh, we want to play Mario Kart, and they've been playing for months, and they're like, oh, Mum and Dad will teach you about Mario Kart. I'm like, Mario Kart, is it? Sure, I've heard of it. Let's try it. And then my wife and I just smashed them. Did not let up. And everyone's like, oh, let your kids win. No.
Globally ranked
No,
at
it
some
was-
point.
You need to know that Mum and Dad have got Mario Kart down.
Yeah, just ruin it for them so they never want to
Yeah,
play.
and they're both just like, oh. I'm like, yeah.
I mean,
Rainbow Road, you say?
we were talking about how you learn more from your losses. So
Yeah.
it's all learning experiences.
Yeah, there's some future expert Mario Kart players coming up. But yeah, I think that's really cool because I don't know, it'd be really awesome to have someone on the show that their parents introduce them to the hobby.
Mm.
I think that would be really unique because I haven't really come across that yet. Like maybe like your parents will take you to the toy store or whatever and you'll find it that way when you first come across it, but it's not
I
really
don't think
like
we've had I don't think we've had a really young guest yet, though.
yeah, but like Warhammer's been around for so long. Like there's
It has.
potential like
But we were just talking about
in
it,
10
but
years
parents
time, for
just used to
example.
go to the pub, mate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
So-
And
They drop me at the G-Dub and then they go across the street to the pub.
yeah.
I mean, they
perfect.
used to lock me in the car before that while they played the pokies.
Yeah,
but,
once you got old enough.
society changed. They're like, leave him in the Games Workshop.
Yeah. Free childcare, you say?
Yes. And I'd be that kid standing behind the people playing. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it is sick though. Like, I guess probably the only thing is the adult money. I think like a lot of people
Yeah.
come back because you actually have the funds to buy the armies you want.
Yeah, as a kid, I would spend so long saving up. And I remember I then went into the store and bought one Cyclone Terminator. And I was just like, yes, the hobby, this is everything. And I look around the whole shop and be like, oh, no one can have all this.
Yeah.
Someone can purely just buy a single Terminator. And then being older, I'm just like, nah, I'm going in. I'm
Yeah.
going hard.
5,000 points. That'd be like 700 years of pocket money.
And then I grab it all off the shelf and then they ring up the price. I go, oh, no, hold up. I'll reel it in. I'll put some stuff back.
Yeah.
I've overcommitted.
Yeah. I don't know how I could explain this away. I just slipped and the card just beeped and all I was paid for all of a sudden. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
But every now and then I'm lucky now and something will arrive from a company that are like, hey, we saw you on YouTube. And I'm like, sorry, you're one of my 3 viewers. And they're like, have this. I'm like, oh, this has opened up a whole new world.
That's sick.
I'm like, you gave me paint?
Can't blame that.
Yeah.
Like
And
that's,
my wife will be like, where has that come from? I'm like, let me tell you.
yeah. I didn't buy
Someone
it.
saw one of my bad videos. They gave me stuff.
That's sick. That's so good.
Mm.
That is actually wild. I mean, it's super crazy when people approach you from social media. Like, I don't know, maybe some people get into social media and they just expect it, but we certainly haven't. And then, yeah, guys that just approach you for wanting to do things like events and stuff like that, you're just blown away.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's very humbling, I guess.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
And again, it makes it real that you just go, oh, yeah, someone's on the other end watching.
Yeah.
And they've seen
Yeah.
it.
You just
They
you're,
didn't click away straight away.
yeah, you're stunned salmon, just like when you reply to someone in the comments, you're like, oh, there's a real person.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. No, that's awesome. What's next for you then?
Oh, I have lots of little mini goals that I set up. This year's I had try and collaborate with 6 people, and then it was try and
Do we
collaborate.
count as 2?
Yeah, I'll allow it.
Ooh.
I mean, I'm happy to cook the books. I need the stats. And it was like
So
dabbling.
he's up to 2 this year.
Yes. You guys got any friends in the hobby?
No.
Well,
He's a
yeah.
towel player, no.
Oh,
No,
don't worry about
that's
it.
true. Yeah, I don't have friends. No, we got
I'm paid to be
we
here.
got connections. We got connections, don't we?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't have any connections.
But I reached out, I did the 1 in a million shot and contacted Mini Wargaming, and they replied.
Yes.
And so I got to paint a model for Josh.
That's sick.
And like that was a huge bucket list item. I was just like, oh my God. And then it features in his bat reps, and I'm just like,
Didn't even think
my
about doing
model.
that.
Do
Did
it.
Not even think about doing that.
I had one day because I don't have a great following, but I sat there one day and I went, you know what? I'm going to try it. And I fired off a bunch of emails. And it was insane. Firstly, that people had the time to reply to me and say, hey, listen, little small YouTuber, come back when you're a somebody. But there were them people who were like, man, let's do it. Sounds amazing. And people that were like, I've seen your videos. I'm like, you haven't seen my videos. And they go, yeah, well, you're small. I'm somebody, but let me help you and let's work together on something.
So good.
I was just like, oh no. And that thing with Josh was insane. It was, he picked a model, I painted it, sent it across. It features in bat reps. He gives me a shout out every time. He
That's
then tells
sick.
other people about me who reach out and go, hey man, Josh was telling me about you, and
What? That is so
the
cool.
beard, the second most impressive beard I've ever met behind you.
Often confused as the beard.
Now,
That's why I trimmed mine down.
one
Like, know
day-
your place, Mike.
One day, me and the beard from Tabletop Tactics will have a battle report,
That'd be cool.
and we are both horrible rollers. It'll be a game of rolling ones. You watch.
Just a lot of movement face.
Yeah,
be-
tons
beard-
of movement.
beard-
No
versus-
models being lifted.
Yeah, beard versus beard, and the least amount of models removed from a table ever.
That'd be
nuts.
entertaining in its own way, I guess.
So yeah, my goals at the moment are still making videos, but trying to focus on videos that I enjoy rather than trying to either please YouTube or please something else. It is do what I find entertaining. And the main goal at the moment is I just love painting for others. It's really dorky, I know, but I can't keep putting
takes
things
a
on my
special
shelf.
person. Like, and I'm not saying that in a negative context at all. It does take a special person to want to paint stuff for other people. And I was just thinking, Dave from Mini Wargaming does love blood angels,
Oh,
and I paint blood angels.
This is
Well-
it. This is the moment. Get the confidence.
I'm not
Send the
saying
email.
we do make this podcast to inspire people. We might have inspired someone today. That's good.
Oh, me?
Yeah,
Shit.
it's a magic moment.
I'm meant
But do it. And I had nothing but a positive result from emailing a bunch of people.
It'd be so
Yeah,
good
it
if we get like, look, little YouTuber, when you're bigger,
Yeah.
maybe come back and talk to us.
Basically, and
Damn it, Mike, you lied
and then
to
they'll
us.
just-
I got plenty of those.
And they'll be
emails.
like, how do they know I'm 5'6"?
They all go
Little
into a
YouTuber.
special folder in my email, which is just remember where you are, Mike. And I read through them and go, ooh, yeah, I can't believe I sent that. But then there were companies like Warlord Games and Army Painter, and I had such a small following, and they just go, yeah, it's small, but we like what you're about, and we want to support the community, so we're going to support you.
I've heard nothing but good things about the Army Painter,
Yeah,
actually.
Army Painter dropped by our TikTok a couple of times.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh.
I think 3 times they dropped by and just watched
Yeah.
me paint.
They were amazing. And then without me asking for anything, they'll just grab one of my videos, put it on their socials or something and be like, hey, check this guy out. We like what he does. And I'm like,
Nice.
They'll never do that with ours because all our stuff's Citadel paint.
yeah. And my videos were at the time. And it's just their confidence as well to go, hey, there's more to the hobby and you might even like what we have.
Yeah.
All my videos were Citadel, Vallejo at one point, something else. And they just went, try this. I went, I'll try it.
Awesome. I love hearing that. Like, yeah, just
And Warlord Games were the same. It's another company that looked at me and just said, he's a nobody. He doesn't get much. He's not going to do much for our business realistically, but let's support him because that supports the community. And models will turn up and they're just like, have a go at painting them. I'm like, I love that.
yeah, I love that as well. That's such a great attitude to have. Like, because what you're doing is encouraging people to paint, and like, you've been doing this for like 2 years now. Did you say the YouTube channel?
So there's not
Even-
much more I can learn. I've
Yeah.
pretty much,
Oh, you pretty
I've
much
clocked it.
you mastered it. Yeah. Like
That's an old saying. Clocked it.
you're,
That's showing your age.
he's at the pinnacle though of the mini painting game. But yeah, I think it's like how many people might you have inspired to paint in that time? Like you've been doing it for 15 months, maybe something like that.
Oh, the online stuff? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, like the amount of people that you
When
would
did
have
we start? February.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, the amount of people that I've heard Justin's inspired to paint, and those people have then gone out and inspired others
Yeah.
/ tricked them to buy split boxes and so on.
So
Deception.
I've inspired 6 people in a year to paint stuff, which is pretty good. And then those people in turn have inspired 6 people.
And that's the ones that have reached out. You don't know, like,
I've just,
yeah,
it's more.
But-
It's like 6 million.
yeah.
Because they spoiled me and they looked after me. It keeps me in my place. So many people reach out to me. So many people reach out to me now, and there's never a part of me that goes, "No, I don't have time for that." I'm like, absolutely, I do. The much bigger fish have supported me, so I've always got time for someone else. Someone will message me now and be like, "Hey, could you help?" I'm like, "Wouldn't have thought so, man."
I saw you on the Battleforge game. Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please don't lean on my car.
It's a lease. No.
It's like you getting that email we got from Games Workshop when we asked Darren Latham to come on. That's all you
no
get.
interviews.
Automated answers.
No
now.
interviews.
Yeah.
See, I emailed you guys. Can we pretend that you emailed me? Or even we'll do that again and I'll reply like it's coming from my agent.
Easily, yeah. I'll just be like, we're too big.
It's like,
No,
And
yeah,
for you
you're not.
guys-
You're not even approaching us. I'm just like, just so you know, out of the blue, we're too big. Don't bother contacting us.
no, not another one.
Not another one. Oh man, no.
Yeah, for you guys, it is the bat reps is the next checkpoint.
Yeah,
Bat reps is the big one. Yeah. So there's a lot of work before we get to that. I did sort of want to launch it a month after DreamHack, which is sort of now. And
so we're starting today. Hope you brought your army.
I got my dice. Let's go.
yeah, no, it's going to get pushed back a little bit, but like with anything, we want to start with having like a good quality. It doesn't need to be perfect. Trying to achieve perfection is very, I believe, unattainable from the beginning. We'll work to improving it. So we'll just hit a good mark with the battle reports. So once we're happy to go, we'll get going. And yeah, like I said, I think they're going to be pretty helpful for people getting into the hobby, newer people. So that's our next goal, and it's a big one. It's a big one because that's the one I'm hoping starts to get us a bit more traction. So
I'm excited for it. My models aren't to your standard, but if ever you needed some extra models, I can drive them over, fly them over.
Yeah, take the helicopter next time.
oh
It's so
yeah,
much
I mean, if
faster.
it's for the battle reports, we could probably make an exception and get the helicopter off the,
yeah, it's a big deal.
It is.
I'm popping off that like on a tray and minis are just blowing everywhere. I'm like, we didn't think this through.
Yeah.
Well, you
This
got
isn't
to.
practical.
I don't think you've renewed your helicopter license yet because people don't understand. Mike's the one that actually flies the BFG helicopter.
Yeah, it's not
We
all
don't-
like
we don't-
chauffeurs and waiters
Yeah.
here. Like I have to do something.
This is your editing bit where it cuts to the sizzle reel of the BFG copter flying over the city coming this week.
Oh no, I can't edit that. It's just gonna be more eyes. That's all I can do.
We'll just use edits from that really bad movie Stealth that had Jamie Foxx in it from years ago.
Can we call it the BFG action copter?
Oh, we totally can. Yeah, absolutely.
We'll call it the BFC, just the Battleforge copter.
Nice.
I don't know.
Someone lock that down on copyright now. We're going to lose that.
Yeah. That's hopefully not too many people are watching because that's gone. I
No,
think, already.
there's 3 people watching, so we
Perfect.
don't need to worry about that.
Please tell me there's more than 3.
I could tell it'll probably. I don't know.
But yeah, so I think the battle reports is a huge thing. I think it's good because our channel's like 3.
There's more than 3. It's okay.
Our channel's like, I don't know how you find it because you've got like a lot more of like an entertainment type aspect to your shows as well. Ours is largely painting, like painting audience, like an audience that want to watch paint tutorials and stuff like that because that's where Justin started.
I'd
And-
hope so.
Yeah, exactly.
They want something else. They're watching the
Yeah,
wrong
what have they
thing.
come for?
Yeah. But I think the
They
battle
come for the
report,
biceps.
the battle report can draw a different
Yeah.
demographic of the
Yeah.
hobby because not everyone cares about the painting. It's horrible to think, but not everyone cares about the painting.
It is true.
Some people care about the gaming side of it. So hopefully
we can nerd out on the analytics and all that. I dabbled a little with a couple of bat reps, which was a 30-minute video cut down of us playing with a bit of narrative over the top. And I found for me, like those videos would bomb and the feedback would be like, hey man, I came here to watch you paint something. Like, I haven't come for that.
You've changed.
I was like, oh no. And I was like, I wanted it to be all-encompassing hobby. And then I got a whole bunch of advice on how to release those videos and how to reach that audience under the same banner of Flashing Badger Painting. But yeah, like I find the background of it really interesting as well. That they go, here's the hobby on YouTube, and now let's break it into its own sections of painting, the lore, the bat reps, the drama of the hobby, and there's people that are in it for that. And then if you keep making videos like I was of, here's 30 videos in a row which are all painting, and now I'm going to release one which is me rolling some dice, that YouTube will go, I don't know where to put that, because all these people that normally watch your videos don't want a bar of whatever this is. So how do I help you? And YouTube tries to help you find the right crowd, and sometimes they just can't. So I found that as a hurdle for me was learning the background of it and understanding, because I put a week into editing a video for it not to find the mark.
Yeah, okay.
So let me just have you real nervous about that.
No, so I think our battle reports are going to have very minimal editing, if at all.
Yeah, nice.
I just find like that really resonated with me because I think the podcast was exactly that. Like I thought the podcast would take off, but obviously it's like we've got our audience. They're not here to watch us sit down and talk. They want to see Justin painting something.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's why the podcast didn't hit straight away.
And your viewers still love you, but you think about when you sit down and you bring up YouTube and you go, I want to watch Mark Rober do some science stuff. Show me a glitter bomb. Show me a cannon that fires something across a field. Mark Rober releases a different style of video where he says, hey, I'm going to sit down and do a one-on-one interview with someone on my couch, or I'm going to drive a car and review the new Honda CR-V. And you look at that and just go, oh, cool, it's Mark Rober. I love that guy. Now I'm going to scroll and pick the next video. That the bulk of his audience are doing that because they haven't come for that.
Yeah.
And then he's on the other end going, oh, what happened in that video? Everyone still loves him. They're just not used to that from him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I found that hard when I try something different and go, hey, I also love this part of the hobby. Let me tell you guys about it. And they just go, we're not here for that.
Yeah. No, thank you.
It's the best with the comments where people just been like, hey, how about you just shut up and paint? I'm like,
I remember seeing Maverick paints.
yeah.
He had a lot of stuff on his Instagram story. I can't remember what he was sharing at the time. I was sharing like local news or something like that. And he then shared like the comments that he received from sharing that. And he's like, I don't care about any of this, Maverick. Like, go back to painting.
Yeah.
And he's
Any
just
risk
like,
of you picking up a brush?
yeah. And he's just like, what? Like, it's my life. Like, I'm gonna do what I want. Settle down, man. Like, sorry, I'm not like meeting your standard of entertainment, but yeah, I find it very entertaining when people lose their mind over some small changes.
There's a cool news piece now. Tell me more about these ultramarines.
Yeah. So McRag Blue, you say? Yeah. No. But yeah.
I'm pumped for you guys doing bat reps. I'll be there. I'll be watching.
Yeah. I think it's a very exciting time for BFG.
Yep.
Absolutely. It's got big plans in the works for it. It's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be underwhelming.
No.
I don't think it's going to be underwhelming. I think it should be, let's hype it up. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be crazy.
Well, the Flashing Badger community are lovely people and they love their bat reps as well. So I'm hoping we can draw across some support for you guys.
Absolutely.
And on this video as well.
Yeah, well,
I'll let you know where they come from.
I mean, we've already got one future crossover. We've got like the mean tweets.
Yes.
The mean tweets, BFG Flashing Badger edition.
I'd love that.
We'll do some battle rep stuff.
I hope one is way worse than the other. Like we're both going into it going, oh, we both got mean tweets and stuff we can read out. And then like you start reading them, I'm like, man, you are getting roasted. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
We need to shut this down. We need to put some support in place.
Mike's like, I didn't really enjoy that video. Justin's like, you need to quit making tutorials.
I'm worried that you're too good, Mike. This is very like, get out of here. Like they're the same, right?
Yeah. These are so hurtful to me. Yeah. No, I think I think it'd be fun. That'd be a fun one. But that probably brings us to the end of this episode.
About wraps things up.
That does. Massive thank you to Flashing Badger Painting.
Thank you so much. This has been an amazing experience. I was absolutely terrified. You guys are lovely. The facility's incredible. This is where I meant to like put you on the spot and be like, you'll have me back, right?
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
Look me in the eye. Mike.
Yes. No, yeah. So, yeah, you're always welcome at this facility. Absolutely. It's purpose built for Warhammer. You know, you're doing great things in the hobby. Come on back anytime.
It was crazy because, I mean, Amazon were trying to get the lease on this building, but we pipped them at the post. So
They just didn't have enough cash, unfortunately.
Sometimes it's just about knowing your place.
no,
That's
they were
true.
like, we'd want some high rollers to
Cop that.
sort of lease here, and they were just
Yeah.
like, people don't know who
Yeah,
Amazon
well,
is.
I think they just weren't really sold on the longevity of Amazon. Like, they're like, we have a future. Amazon, maybe not so much.
Yeah, totally.
I love that we made a genuine attempt to be like, we can wrap this up, and then we just spiral into madness again.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is more lies. I see what
This
they're
hasn't
doing.
happened before.
No,
But yes, thank you everyone for watching live on Twitch. It'll be on YouTube and all the other streaming services later. Again, massive thank you to Mike from Flashing Badger Painting. As always, massive thank you to BFG Justin. I'm Background Mike. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
see you guys.
See ya.
See ya.